Heather, A through Z.
L.
L. Well, you know, this past weekend was the Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl L something something. I don't know, whatever the fuck Roman numerals are, whatever. You know, that's what happened. We got some, some mini trailers, some teasers for some stuff. You know, we got that abridged teaser for that Megan 2.0. You know, I like the one in theaters better though, because they're like the bitch is back.
Yeah.
And it's was it super modern or super ultra modern female or woman? Or it's a Chappelle Roan song. That's great too. I don't know. Maybe this one will be better. I mean, I think with this one, I might at least know what to expect more, because I'm still disappointed she only killed like 3 people. So knowing going into this that the body count might be around 3, okay, I guess. Maybe I won't be as disappointed around 2. Also, I don't know if this was in the Super Bowl or not, but they have actually, there's a trailer for the new Final Destination movie coming out. Jastin apparently hasn't seen it. That's fine. I was just going to say, hey, they're bringing back Final Destination. So, and they're like, death comes for families or whatever the tagline is for that. I'm like, isn't it just death comes for everyone? Really? Like, isn't that just a thing? Like,
And also the point of Final Destination.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing. We did get some more, little tidbits of that Superman, the Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Brave New World, all the stuff. I mean, those were kind of just standard little bits and bops and whatnots. That's all fine. We got that new Smurf movie that nobody asked for. That's fantastic. I just don't get it. How the fuck do they just keep making Smurf movies? They just keep making them.
I didn't think anybody watched them.
Or Smurfs?
Smurfs.
Okay.
I know that they are also doing a Trolls movie too. Another one of those. It's the Smurfs and Trolls keep getting fucking movies. I don't know a single human being that's ever watched them though.
And see, that's why I ask, is like, I've at least heard of more of the Trolls movies. I didn't even know that there was, Smurfs thing still happening.
To be fair, they release a Trolls movie every, 3 or 4 years, just for whatever reason. The Smurfs, it's been like 10 years since the last one? It's been a while. And they're just like coming out with Smurfs. And the only thing I know is Rihanna is Smurfette. Which, okay, I guess.
I know that the Trolls those movies make money. I know that. I believe.
Well, is that because they cost like $10 to make, and just one person buying a ticket makes it a profit? Like, is that what it is?
I think they make money, but the Smurfs, I didn't think anybody watched those. So if they're making another one, I guess they make money too. Like I know Trolls does, but I didn't know anything about the Smurfs. That's a surprise.
And also, like, I don't know. Okay, I guess. Yes, that's just a thing. I'm going to go out on a limb here, guys. You guys, if y'all want to do an episode on Smurfs, you know what? You have my blessing. I'll edit it. I'll release it, all that shit. But my ass ain't watching no Smurfs, man.
Yeah, I'm not interested. But they have a good cast, though. They have Hannah Waddingham, Natasha Lyonne.
Okay.
Kurt Russell, Dan Levy. or Dan Levy, sorry.
Okay.
Nick Offerman. No.
So a bunch of people I'd rather see on screen and not do voice stuff. Got it.
Pretty much, but yeah.
Well, maybe I lied, man. The Trolls World Tour or whatever, which was the last movie, right? 2020. It was 49 million worldwide, which doesn't seem like a lot.
But I'm
I don't know how
90%
much
sure
it costs to make.
another Trolls movie's coming out, though. I am pretty sure another Trolls movie's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, the band Back Together was the last one in 2023.
Yeah, that was okay. I wonder what that made. Let's see if that did any better, because 50 million, it doesn't seem like a lot.
I thought another Trolls was coming out. I can't find it, though.
Okay, well, that one did way better. So it went from 50 to 209 million.
God damn. Was that just because everybody's like, fuck this, I got to get out of the house. I don't give a fuck if I'm watching Trolls or not? Is that what happened?
Damn. It's good. And the movie has a passing score. I guess it's good, Sterling. I guess you just wrong, man. I guess it's good. Man.
You ain't convincing me of shit.
Barely passing, though. It's like 64.
So
that's like barely fresh, but it is fresh. Okay, the first Trolls movie made 347 million. Okay, that's why this is happening.
So that one movie paid for the entire franchise.
50 though. That's crazy. So it made the first one made 346. And then that World Tour. Wait, is World Tour just a like Netflix or some shit? There's hella Trolls movies, guys. Some of these might be like Netflix movies or something.
They had like a TV series too. It was like Trolls, the Theater of Dreams, or what? I don't know.
Okay. But there's just been 3. Trolls, World Tour, and Trolls Band Together.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I mean, they I guess they make all right money, man. 300 something. I mean, but 350 seems to be the highest that any of them has made, which is not like, I was thinking it'd be more like 5 to close to the billion category, but it hasn't made that kind of money. So maybe they think it can get there.
So the last I see is that potentially the 4th one is coming out in 2026. So I wasn't crazy.
Okay.
I do know I had heard something, but it's not this year. So we just wasted a lot of people's time talking about Trolls.
Yep.
Fuck me. I'm sorry, everybody. And then, there was a football game that happened. I mean,
oh yeah, that did happen.
By the most technical of senses, like legally speaking, a football game was played. I don't think I watched a football game. That was just a massacre. There was the bread of a Kendrick Lamar sandwich.
That's accurate, probably.
Yeah, pretty much.
And let's talk about halftime. Kendrick Lamar. Seen a lot of people say that it was the worst halftime show ever. And to them, I say, you're a goddamn liar. Like, that is just statistically not true. Did you not watch the Black Eyed Peas? Where those four motherfuckers just sat there and yelled into microphones for 15 goddamn minutes. Did you not see the Maroon 5 one? Which, whilst relatively unoffensive, was also just elevated mediocrity. Have you not seen, was it the Disney one? I want to say from around 2000. It was like just a bunch of songs from like Disney's like musical plays and stuff like that, like The Lion King and stuff like that. But you know, they're great songs and everything, but whoa, that's a weird fucking halftime show. I mean, if you wanted to say that, you know, this halftime show wasn't your cup of tea, I guess that's fair. But just to say it's the worst ever, you're just fucking wrong. You're just empirically wrong. Like, not even an opinion. You were factually wrong. Like, scientists in Norway have papers written about why that's not true. And they have been peer reviewed. Because I get why, if you're not a Kendrick fan, you might have missed some stuff with it. You wouldn't know some of these other songs that have just come out on his newest album. I get that. But you're telling me you haven't seen a commercial or a YouTube video or a movie clip or just something that didn't have Humble in it? You're telling me this is the first time you heard DNA? You're telling me that somehow you missed one of the most popular songs of all of last year? Just magically didn't hear it? Because just on a purely musical level, I won't even get into the symbology, the theater, the subtle, just, I mean, that's not even fair. It wasn't subtle. If you weren't stupid, you could see a lot of the stuff a mile away that was happening throughout the performance. Won't even get into that. But this motherfucker went out there and put on a fucking clinic. He went out there. So a lot of hip hop artists, if you notice, they'll have a hype man, right? They'll have that guy that will repeat the words that like at the same time as they do. And a lot of that is because you're running out of breath at the end of a sentence. You're going for a while, you're running out of breath, and you have them to put that emphasis on typically the part that rhymes in the verse. They help you feel the rhyming whilst you're running out of breath. This motherfucker didn't have that. He went out there with essentially just perfect fucking technique. He just did his songs nonstop with impeccable breath control. And you motherfuckers don't even realize what he did. And on top of that, on a more personal note, I am here for the pettiness. And when that motherfucker had fucking Samuel Jackson as Uncle Sam telling him, oh, isn't it better when you behave? And he comes out and he hints that he might do not like us a couple of times. And he's like, oh, but I'm getting a lawsuit for this. And then Samuel Jackson's like, oh, see, it's great when you just behave and you don't act up. And then he goes into it again. And everyone's like, are you going to do it? And he teases again. And they're like, well, are you sure? And he's going to tease again. And then he just fucking goes into it in the most unapologetic way ever. He stares at the goddamn camera when he calls out the motherfucker by name. And I'm here for all of that.
That's like some epic shit, man.
Dude, when
I don't
everybody's
know
like,
if anybody's ever done anything like that.
when everybody's like, oh, but
That's
Drake's
crazy.
just living in his head rent free. I was like, no, motherfucker. No, that's not what that was. That was him being fucking Freddy Krueger to Drake's fucking nightmares, is what that was. That wasn't Drake living in his head. That was him just going, I'm fucking Freddy Krueger. I am the king of your nightmares. And you will not escape this. I don't give a fuck if you are suing me. Because you know what? I don't give a fuck if you win your lawsuit. Musically speaking, you fucking lost. And I just did that the week after winning 5 Grammys for calling you a fucking pedophile. And did it to the largest fucking viewing of a halftime show ever. This might not be the best diss track ever written, but fuck me if it's not becoming the most iconic.
That crowd shouting A minor was just
Dude,
crazy, bro.
But they chanted A minor. That motherfucker had a diamond fucking chain of a lowercase a for the same thing. He had fucking people running up and down the field with banners that say A minor on it. I strive to be as petty as this motherfucker. But that look, when he says, say Drake, and he looks at the fucking camera, like just into each and every human being's soul when he says that. And you've got the background dancers. Whenever they say, I hear you like them young. And they fucking like do a dance move to more or less going, yeah, itty bitty. Like the real small ones. Holy shit. I'm not even getting into the contextual other things. I mean, we could spend another 15 minutes just talking about having the American flag on stage entirely comprised of black people. In front of everybody saying that, yes, black people built America. And I hate to break it to you, if you disagree with that, you were also factually wrong. What slaves did for our economy is the reason why we became what we are. And I'm not trying to say that as putting slavery in any positive light or anything like that. I'm saying that that is evidence that we are who we are as a country, as a global powerhouse, an economic dynasty, is because of what black people went through in our country. It was built on their backs. Quite literally. Like, that's not even a figurative statement. I mean, fuck. The White House was built by black people in the most literal sense. And then when it got burned down by the British, they built it again. And on top of that, too, when I've seen some people floating around the theory that, oh, they're also in sweatsuits that mimic Squid Games. Implying also the, the rich use poor people for their games and entertainment. And so you have the American flag made of that, too. It's a fucking genius. And on top of that, he had Serena Williams crip walking. Fucking fantastic. Which also,
yeah, that was cool.
As another nod to that too. You remember some years ago when she got fucking like lambasted for doing that in France? Like, was it like the French Open or whatever? Yeah. It's not just that she was his ex-girlfriend. Don't get me wrong. That didn't hurt. But there was added stuff to that too. You know, like, oh, she does that at the French Open. Oh, she's trashy for doing that. Does it on the stage at the Super Bowl. Oh, look how crazy it is that she's up there dancing. Like, yes, that was intentional also. it's absurd. And just somehow, people are like, oh, it's the worst ever.
Yeah, but it's not a surprise. Like, a lot of the people saying that and complaining about it just strangely just have similar traits.
I'll say it, Jastin, they white.
Yeah.
And I can say that because I'm
And of
white.
a certain age range.
That I don't share with them because they're old.
Right.
Then that's just, I mean, sometimes, man, you got to realize everything is not for your generation. And sometimes it's just it's a bitter pill to swallow that not everything is for your generation anymore, man. Like,
Does it make it kind of hard to like believe people when people of that same demographic also say things like, I'm sorry, I just grew up in a different era? Do you believe it when they say they're sorry?
no.
Exactly. Because they do everything else to prove that they're not. Like saying,
Yeah.
we needed real American music like country. I hate to break it to you people. Is rap not pretty much one of the most American of musics?
Yeah. And black people invented country music too, but they don't want to hear that either.
Justin, we can't.
I mean,
we
it's
can't
just,
break down that pretty much all American music was made by black people.
but like,
Don't just sell it at country, Justin. It's all of it.
I guess they're really just upset right now because Beyonce won Best Country Album. I thought they'd be kind of happy after Trump got voted in. I thought they'd be a little happier
Man,
than
they
this,
gotta
but
find
apparently,
shit. They gotta find
Beyonce
shit.
won Country Album. Now everybody just has
Lost
a
their
voice and
mind.
was just upset about that, just lost their minds. And then this Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl, it's like, man, I thought they'd be a lot happier than this. Like, don't you have the president that you want and everything? And I mean, black people still can't do shit. Still on their case. I guess they're just going to be on the case till they die, which might be 5 minutes from now. But
I mean, Justin, I live with a lot of hate in my heart. I truly do. But I just want to know how they all haven't had fucking like heart attacks with the amount of stress they put on themselves with it.
exactly.
I mean, it's also just funny that like this actually ended up being the most viewed Super Bowl halftime performance. Like surpassed Michael Jackson, surpassed like the most viewed, which is great.
Yeah. And they say it's the worst. Man, have they seen Up With People at the Super Bowl in 1976? Have you seen Up With People?
Have you seen that one where the halftime show was just a guy on a jetpack?
What?
It was like Super Bowl 5.
See that?
It's just Super Bowl 5. It's just a guy hovering around the field on a jetpack. Dude, one of the Super Bowls, they had a fucking dog do flips. And I'm not even joking. A fucking dog was doing flips and jumping through a hoop and shit on the halftime show.
I mean, bro, you got to see that Up With People, though. It's just a bunch of people trying to dance. It's funny, but not like, oh, it was great entertainment, but funny.
Do you remember there was one?
It's
like,
got a funny sound.
like in the 90s, they did the We Are the World with a bunch of fucking kids. They just had a bunch of kids on the field singing We Are the Children.
That song doesn't hit the same way, huh?
But also,
Because of
you know
Michael
what?
Jackson.
Who wants to see a gigantic school play for the Super Bowl? You know how when you were in elementary school, you had those like recital things? Everybody would sing and shit, and it's fucking terrible. Why did they think it'd just be better if they had more kids?
Right.
Like, because they obviously didn't hold tryouts. they weren't getting the best of the best. It was like they just grabbed random motherfuckers, like kids from the stands. It was like, kid, you're going to go sing.
Right.
It's fucking bad.
Also, like, back to the Serena thing really quick. One of my favorite like responses that I saw was somebody said, "Congrats to Serena Williams, the first person to ever win 7 Wimbledons and 1 Super Bowl." It's like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, that would be rarefied air.
Yep. I get it. I get it. A lot of people were saying that after the Super Bowl. They were like, Philly won, but Kendrick Lamar really won. That's what
dude
people say. Like,
the
it's hard
combination,
not to agree with that.
The combination of Kendrick, SZA, who is fantastic also. SZA was fucking fantastic. Which also, coming off a movie where she's also fantastic. And then you have Serena dancing, which was fantastic. And then also, I wanted to give a shout out too. I loved the fact that Mustard came out on stage at the end of that fucking thing. You know, he is in rarefied air with his talent. He is easily one of the best producers going right now. And I know that the likelihood that Drake would have ever asked him to do a beat or whatever was already pretty close to none. But you had the premier fucking producer go out on stage just to stand next to Kendrick to also say, "It ain't never gonna happen, Drake. Ever." And also, get his fucking, like, I just love the fact that he got a little bit of spotlight. Like, there are people that love those songs and love On TV Off whenever he screams mustard, you know, all that shit, but they don't know what the motherfucker looks like. Now you do. I love that. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was tight. Oh, and just real quick about the complaining people that said they couldn't understand a word he said and stuff. How many bands, how many rock bands, how many bands from that era could you barely understand?
Dude.
I mean, Pearl Jam, some of them songs, some of that stuff, man, some of that stuff, you can't hardly understand it either. You gotta go
that
and
motherfucker
look up what the
literally
lyrics say
just
and all
making
that
noises.
shit.
He is just making noises. Eddie Vedder is not saying words in half those damn songs. What is that one song where it's like, he's just fucking mouthing a fucking rhythm guitar part. Have you seen like any recent clips of what is it? The lead singer, was it Vince Neil? Yeah, from Motley Crue. I have listened to some hardcore fucking death metal in my time. I had to develop that ear, to decipher lyrics from just a bunch of fucking growls. I still have no fucking clue what that guy was saying, though.
Yeah. So just acting like, oh, I just can't understand, or like, oh, it just went over my head. I don't get it. I didn't understand any of the messages or anything that was happening. When some of that stuff, all you have to do is just look at it, and it's clear what some of the messages were. Even if you didn't get everything, some of it you could just by the camera shots and the angles that were perfectly placed, so you could see that the American flag was formulated and comprised of the black dancers on that. Like some stuff, you could just clearly see it. But these same people will be all over the internet going, oh, look, this means this singer's doing this, and this means the devil, and this symbol means that they're demon worshipers. This symbol means that they eat kids. Like, they love to decode everybody and everything online. But you couldn't understand any of this shit. It's Dude, it's such horse shit,
okay,
man.
Let's even just pretend like Kendrick was just an unintelligible mess, that you couldn't understand all of the words he was saying really damn clearly. But let's just pretend that he was not doing that. Even if you just understood what Samuel L. Jackson was saying in the most crystal clear, pristine, THX Dolby Digital surround sound fucking voice, if you just heard that and watched shit, it was clear what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
And I refuse to believe that none of those people can't understand Samuel L. Jackson. Come on. Come on.
Right.
You tell me you don't understand what Samuel L. Jackson says? Oh, okay.
But yeah, also just like the people saying specifically this performance was like demonic and things like that. And I'm just like, what? I'm so confused by any of that. It's just very,
Well, see,
people are crazy.
That's the problem with white Christian nationalism, is when they don't see white, they just automatically assume it's not Christian.
Right. Exactly.
Which makes things really weird because, there's black churches.
Right.
Just
also, I'm pretty sure Kendrick is like professed Christian.
Hella Christian. Hella Christian as shit.
Yeah. So what are you saying? By the way, I actually just learned why Mustard is called Mustard. Because his first name is Dijon.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Plus, to me, he's got one of the best fucking DJ taglines ever. Just mustard on this beat. Oh, it's fucking great.
Nice.
Fucking love it. But also, I want to get into something cinematic here real quick. That shot when they're inside that X and you've got like the dancers in the X and the camera's just spinning and Kendrick is just popping up and moving. Like, that was fucking glorious. That was just an incredibly well-crafted scene. And I loved that. And then there's that whole thing where he's just sitting there and there's that one scene where all this shit's happening and it's like right up on the dancers. And then he just pops up. Oh, fucking great. That's just amazing production. Amazing production. Anyway, we should probably move on. We got one last thing in the news that we got to do. We got some Bureau. We got some of this non-alcoholic beer.
Yes.
Tom Holland's Bureau. We secured some of this. And since Jastin is of the straight edge persona,
it's almost time to celebrate my yearly post. I know that you love.
I was about to say, it's Troll Jastin's Day's coming up, is it not? I'll check my calendar.
The only honiday
Fuck no, that
Sterling
was-
ever cares
Why
about.
you have it on your calendar?
That was
still?
today.
I figured
Jastin,
you'd
that was
erased
today.
it. No, it wasn't. It's next week, isn't it?
No, it's today. Troll
February
Jastin's
12th?
Day is February 12th. We both missed it,
Really?
motherfucker.
No. I
Jastin.
thought it was next Wednesday,
Jastin.
not this Wednesday.
It's a holiday in my calendar. It's Troll Jastin Day.
It's the only holiday I think that you probably care about, right?
And we both missed it.
Oh no.
No, I have to post it after this.
We'll both have to sit there and go, man, sorry it's late in the day. Jastin forgot and I forgot.
Well, then this is actually perfect timing.
It's also just crazy that we both forgot what day it is.
I know we both forgot.
Because worst case, you remind me or I remind you, we both fucking forgot.
We both dropped the ball on it on podcast day. What happened?
Of the day we're drinking non-alcoholic beer and doing a little mini taste test.
Yeah, this is like celebrating your straight edgeness.
We both fucking forgot.
Oh no.
It's hilarious.
Fuck
man.
me. Oh man, this has been one hell of a fucking week. All right, so we're gonna get into this. Let's go ahead and all crack them open real quick. Let's do this little crack. All right, but before we do this, I'm going to do a little toast. Do a few different things. So we'll start to, we'll be toasting to Jastin's straight edgeness on this day. We'll be toasting to Troll Jastin Day. But also, some people might not know this, but a little less than a month ago, I did get a new kitten. It's this little all-black cat named Amit Rose. And it was really great having her, but unfortunately, this past Sunday, she actually got a little sick. And throughout the night, she got worse and ended up having to go to the emergency clinic early Monday morning. And, we were in the middle of discussing a plan with the vet, for hospitalization, medications, all kind of stuff to like get her back on track. And unfortunately, during that, she also passed away. They did try to medically intervene with that twice with adrenaline and some other drug and chest compressions and breathing stuff and all this other stuff. But unfortunately, when they were able to get her heart beating again, it wasn't stable and she wasn't able to breathe on her own. So unfortunately, we did just more or less had to let her pass away. And it really just kind of sucks. I know I had her less than a month, but I mean, if you know me and how I am, especially with cats, especially with my cats, I could have them for a fucking day. That's my cat. That's mine. And I love it and treat it just the same as all my other cats. One of my cats here, she's 11. Other one's 9. My ex-wife got one. She's 12. The other two, the boys, they're about 2 years old now. But yeah, they're all like, like I said, I have a cat day. It's my cat. And yeah, tried to do everything we could, but it turns out it's more or less like a congenital thing, most likely that caused it. No matter what, it probably wasn't going to happen because she had complete liver failure at that point. And so her being a feral cat that was rescued, that's kind of sometimes the risk with feral cats. You don't have any medical history. You have nothing. You don't even know the shape that the parents or any of the other litters in sometimes. But yes, so Amit Rose did pass away. So I do want to also and toast to her too. So we've got Jastin Straight Edge Day. We've got Troll Jastin Day. The best time of the year, even though we both fucking forgot. And also to Amit Rose. There we go, guys. Taste test. It's not the worst.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just tastes like beer.
So we got what is this? This is the Kingston Golden Pills. It is a lager. I got us that because lager is what I drink. So I wanted to get something, close to what I drink. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not a big beer drinker myself, but this is not bad.
It's not. And my folks said the same thing. It's not bad. They were like, and it wasn't cold when we drank it. This is actually better.
Jastin, you were drinking fucking warm ass beer? Holy shit. That's that alcoholic shit, Jastin.
We just wanted to try it.
Ooh. Now, to be fair, because I care about science, I'm comparing it with an actual beer. Also a lager. This is old style. Used to be the official beer of the Chicago Cubs. It's not anymore, but this is a fucking Chicago beer. It's garbage. It's garbage beer. You get a 6-pack for $7. But you know what? You know what it tastes like, though? It tastes like fucking beer. So, once again, to Amit, here you go. Yeah, alcohol's better. But I will say, no, legit speaking, though, if you're going for a non-alcoholic alternative, that's not bad. It's really not. I can see that, especially. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily drink that if I was a recovering alcoholic, but I mean, somebody your situation, Jastin, straight edge, but I know personally you've gone to bars with people, and you're typically having to drink soft drinks, water, stuff like that allows you to be more inclusive.
Yeah.
So I get it. And I get that, it really does taste like a standard fucking like American lager. It really does.
Yeah.
I just like the negative effects of alcohol. No, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Probably
Not
the second
bad,
best thing
Tom.
you've done since Spider-Man.
Not bad, Tom.
Hey,
Not bad.
Hey, that's better than Uncharted. I'll say that. Better than Uncharted.
Bureau is better than Uncharted.
That's a little unfair to Bureau. But hey, you guys ready to talk about this movie?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Somebody will listen to me.
Nobody knows anything but you.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on.
Cinema Slayers.
Before we get into the movie, I should have done this before all that, but it's too late. So there's another beer that's actually coming to Illinois very soon. It's Yingling. Anybody from the Northeast kind of knows what I'm talking about. It's from Pennsylvania. It's from the oldest brewery in the United States. But they're just not everywhere, and they're just like slowly kind of spreading out and stuff like that. I will say this, Jastin. If they ever come out with a non-alcoholic Yingling, I definitely want you to try that. Because Yingling's fucking good. Probably the best thing to happen out of Pennsylvania. That whole state, its whole legacy.
Just that, huh?
Pretty much that, yeah. I know they just won a Super Bowl. But come on, guys. Yingling. Let's be real. Liberty Bell, who gives a fuck? Shit's broken. But also, yes, Justin, I am also glad, though, that you've realized, kind of rule number one to beer. Cold is always better.
Yeah.
We're not
Found that
fucking
the hard
Britain,
way.
dude, where they do their room temp beer. What the fuck all that? We are America. We're about freedom and cold beer. At least that's what country music tells me. But to be fair, I haven't listened to all of Beyonce's country stuff, so I don't know. Maybe that's the problem. She doesn't mention cold beer.
Right.
She probably mentions freedom, but just doesn't mention cold beer. And they're like, I can't relate. That's not my America. My America has cold beer, and Beyonce didn't say that. Oh, well. Anyway. Hey, Cinefans. Welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Slayers podcast. I'm Sterling, and as always, I'm joined by Heather and Jastin. And tonight we're going to talk about what we like, didn't like, and everything in between with the new movie, Love Hurts. We will go spoiler-free recommendations and scores, and then into a more spoiler-centric section. With time comes in the description in both audio and video formats. We'll allow you to jump around if you so require. Why are you laughing, Heather?
I didn't know if the title of the movie was mistaken on purpose or not.
I said Love Hurts, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, you did.
I thought you were making a joke, but then I was like, wait.
Hard Eyes. Hard Eyes is what we're watching. I also watch Love Hurts. We are not talking about Love Hurts, though. I am sorry. To be fair, that title works for both movies, though. It does.
It's true.
It does, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
It does.
I just thought you were playing another like troll Jastin
I
joke
was
on him.
not. I didn't even realize I said something wrong. And I just see you, and you're sitting there like you're about to just fucking explode. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
I am an attractive person when I'm about to explode, I guess.
You were holding back the laughter, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
Did you catch that, Jastin?
No, I heard her make the face, and I heard you say love first, and I was like, okay, is this? But I was like her. I was like, is this a joke, or
No, I legit did not realize.
is he going to turn it around into Hard Eyes? I just wasn't sure. I wanted to wait and see where it was taking, where you were taking us.
No, that just straight up honest mistake. Didn't even know I did it. Like I said, that name applies to both. Hard Eyes, on the other hand, only applies to one movie. But Love Hurts applies to both. So, my bad. Hard Eyes. And we will go spoiler-free recommendations and scores, and then into a more spoiler-centric section with time to the description in both audio and video formats, if you so require. Who is our resident serial killer love expert?
I mean, how do we determine this?
It's almost got to be me, doesn't it? Because I'm a white guy, and most serial killers are white guys, right?
Yeah.
It's just by default, it has to be me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just statistically speaking, I'm the closest to a serial killer of any of us sitting here. So, damn. All right, I'll start us off. Spoiler free. Movie's not bad. It does a really good job of combining both the slasher and rom-com genres. Jokes don't always hit. But, that's kind of rom-com, though. A lot of rom-coms, all the jokes don't hit. But some do. I think that the two leads, the romantic leads, I like their connection. I like their chemistry. I thought that worked very well. I thought that the kill scenes, it had some fun ones. There was some interesting stuff with that. It's not groundbreaking, but there's some good ones. Not the biggest fan of the end, though. Really not the biggest fan of the end of this movie. And I think that that's always kind of where you get in a hit or miss type of realm when it comes to like the who's doing it slashers. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And this is kind of one where I don't think it actually does. I don't think the payoff at the end is good. But the saving grace of this movie is pretty much the rest of the movie. And while it does stumble at the end, I think it does a good enough job throughout the movie to make it a movie that you're, might not love the end, but I like the movie. And it really does hinge on the romantic comedy elements of this movie. Because they are great. At least the two main people, the leads, really enjoyed a lot of their stuff. Thought they were great. On a side note, I know this is not the time to replace, but I'm going to say it. Love Hurts is bad. And it's because it's the same as this movie. It's an action movie and a rom-com wrapped up in one. And Hard Eyes succeeds at mixing those genres. Love Hurts does not. And it is the rom-com elements that truly bring it down. And that's the sad thing about it. The rom-com elements kind of hold Hard Eyes together. The rom-com elements tear Love Hurts apart. And on an even more tangent of a note, and this is strictly for, what's her name? Ariana DeVos? Is that her name? This is just for her. No one else can, you don't need to listen to this, but I know you're going to because you're all a bunch of nosy bitches. But this is for Ariana DeVos. Do better.
Just in general.
Do better. As of right now, you seem to be the kiss of death to every movie because you are nothing but in bad movies. West Side Story fucking sucks. Wish it should have been the most layup of your fucking career. That movie's not really good either. Argyle, one of the worst movies of all time last year. Weirdly enough, you followed that up with Craven, the movie that's trying to fight Argyle for the worst movie of the year. And then you're in this movie. Or that movie, I should say, because it's not the movie we're really talking about, but I had to say it. You're in Love Hurts.
You know something that I forgot she was in? Schmigadoon. She is in that, and she's actually not bad in that.
She's the teacher in season 1, right?
Yeah.
Not in season 2.
She is in season 2. She's one of the performers. I think not in a lot of it, but yeah.
Okay. Ariana DeVos, you were in One Good Thing. But I forgot you were in it, so that doesn't really count.
Same, though.
If I don't really remember you in it, were you in it? That philosophical quandary. But I'm just going to say this, because apparently some people think you're good. You won a fucking Academy Award for crying out loud.
She's an Oscar winner, Sterling. Doesn't that mean she's good?
Right now, it's telling me they paid so much money for her to win. They did all the bribing. I'm just going to say, though, let me give you this undeserved benefit of the doubt and just say, do better. Even if that just means picking better movies. Because right now, it seems like you pick movies based on how much you hated the script, and you choose the ones you hate the most. Because I refuse to believe that anybody could actually read these scripts and go, yes, that's the one. Or maybe, just maybe you can't read. I don't want to go there, though. So I'm going to choose to believe you can read. And I'm just going to choose to believe right now you are really bad at making decisions. Really bad. I don't know. Maybe go talk to somebody. Go talk to a therapist about all the bad life choices you were making. Because I do not see how anybody can sustain a career based on the caliber of movies you are choosing. Outside of possibly Tara Reid.
That's mean, Sterling. Tara Reid.
You're right. Tara Reid did Sharknado at least.
That's mean, Sterling.
She did Sharknado.
That's really
what
violent.
the fuck have
You
you
are
done,
terrible
Ariana
for that.
DeVos? Because I haven't seen you in no Sharknado.
Terrible to compare to Tara Reid. That's
Yes.
terrible.
Because
Sterling.
Tara Reid deserves
That's
some
awful,
fucking respect.
Man. That's awful, bro. That's terrible, Sterling. You can't don't do this. Don't make your dislike for just these few bad movies. Don't let it make you
But
do
Jastin,
this.
it's all the movies. I've seen her in though,
I can't
Jastin.
let you do
It's
this.
just all the movies. At least Sydney Sweeney ended up doing Immaculate. So I actually got to see her be good in a movie. And I'm like, okay, that's good. I at least apparently found out why people like you outside of the fact that you're hot. You have talent. Sydney Sweeney showed me she has acting talent in a movie. I did not think that was true. But she proved me wrong. Ariana DeBose, pull a Sydney Sweeney and show me you can fucking act. Because right now, you are a subpar Tara Reid. Yeah, I said it, Jastin.
The subpar Tara Reid with an Oscar.
Hey. She has a fucking Oscar. Tara Reid has like 5 Sharknado movies. Which one's better? Sharknado.
I can't let you say this, Sterling. This is...
I don't give a fuck
bad,
what you
bro.
let me say or not say. I'm saying
bad,
it.
man. This is terrible, Sterling. I just need to express
It
that
is
this
terrible.
bad.
It is terrible, Justin. The fact that I've had to sit through like 5 bullshit fucking movies from her is fucking terrible. You're right. It's a fucking travesty.
I can't believe you said that about
At least
it.
you can watch her dance in Hamilton, but yeah.
I don't give no fucks about that.
Man, I can't
I'm
believe
looking
you
for a
said that
fucking
about
actor, not a dancer.
Jeez. I just can't believe it.
I stand behind what I said. 100%. What's the name of the girl in Hard Eyes? Olivia Holt?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's fantastic. Ariana DeBose, do a her. Be good in something. She's great. But I thought she was great back in the day. When I was watching her in the little-known MCU TV series that was on Freeform, when she was on Cloak and Dagger, playing Dagger. She's great on that. Loved it. Love Cloak and Dagger. And that is technically, officially MCU too. Fuck all you guys. But it's fantastic. She's great in that. Got a soft spot in my heart for Cloak and Dagger. So, she's great. Ariana DeBose. Do a her. Who's that other lady in this? Jordana Brewster. Do a her. She's at least been in a Fast and Furious movie. Ariana DeBose, you've been in just nothing but badness. You've been on a bunch of badness and a fucking Apple TV show that I feel like 8 people watched. It is good, though. Schmigadoon is good, guys. Go watch Schmigadoon.
I did not have it on my list for today to expect you to compare Ariana DeBose to both Tara Reid and Jordana Brewster. This is quite an episode. No offense to Jordana Brewster. I'm just saying, like, the only thing that I've seen her in is the Fast and the Furious movies and The Faculty, and that's it.
2 things better than anything Ariana DeBose has been in. I'm just saying, do something. Prove me wrong. But Hard Eye's good. Loved it. Well, didn't love it. Liked it. Jastin, what you got?
I don't know. We might have a similar opinion about it. I mean, overall, I didn't think it was that bad either. I mean, I thought it was pretty solid for what it is. Combining the romance comedy with a slasher, I could see how those are 2 unlikely things, but we've had the conversation before that horror is one of the more, I guess, kind of compatible types of genre with just what you can mix with it, whether it be like a mystery type deal or whether it be like a love story like this. Horror is just something that typically lends itself to other genres, and if you do it right, you can really have something great.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to be fair, like what you're saying, Justin, I don't think there's a genre out there that you can't mix with horror.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can. Yeah, there's just it's pretty limitless as far as what it can mix with and be good. Um, everything really, when you do that, everything really is about execution. And I think horror people are also, just because of the sheer variety and types of horror that we've seen, the audience of it that are fans of it are probably a little more open to, I guess you could say, different ideas or certain things being presented. I mean, sure, you have traditionalist people who believe horror is a certain way or a certain thing is scary or a certain thing. You're going to always have like objective opinions about that. But I feel like most horror people are a little more open to accepting different ideas and different mixes of things because we've just seen so much shit, you know? It's been done so many different ways. It almost is kind of just expected now. That you can do different ideas with the genre. And I mean, this movie, for the most part, uh, I think it's pretty good. What I think stops it from being great is that um, while most of it does succeed as a rom-com and a slasher, I do think that the rom-com elements are stronger than the horror and slasher elements. And that's ultimately where I think like the movie is weaker. It felt more like a rom-com with the slasher happening in the background. And I think if you're one of those people where like you're more of a slasher fan, that might leave a little something to be desired. Now, when it does do slashing and it does do killing, there are some fun scenes. There's some pretty cool things that happen. But because this is less about the slasher and more about the couple, because it's a rom-com, so you got to get that over. They got to have scenes together. There's got to be chemistry. They've got to do enough. They've got to focus on that because they want you to buy into the love. And unfortunately, that is the double-edged sword sometimes of trying to mix something like this. Something has to be sacrificed in order for something else to take priority. And in this, they chose to sacrifice the slasher stuff for the rom-com stuff. So, I mean, so it is what it is. That's not to say that the film is bad or none of the elements are good. The horror elements are good. It's just that they don't get as creative. Like I think about Thanksgiving, and because Thanksgiving was a slasher with sort of the Thanksgiving as the background, the slashing and the killing was a lot more creative. You know, they could do all these fun things where there's a chase and then we wind up in a room and then we wind up here, wind up there, and killing with all these Thanksgiving instruments and all of this kind of stuff. And like the whole thing with setting the table, you know, like the slasher and the Thanksgiving was mixed together. So like a lot of the Thanksgiving elements really like embodied the slasher and what the slasher was doing. And so to me, as a slasher horror movie, to me, that was more compelling. That was a little more creative. It succeeded more with the slasher elements. This one, not so much, because the other part it was trying to do took priority over it. So, I mean, for it to be kind of a slasher slash rom-com based on the holiday of Valentine's Day, at least for the most part, it succeeds at things. At least for the most part, it gets over what it needs to get. Yeah, there were some parts where I laughed as far as the comedy and everything like that. But definitely the reason why this succeeds is the two leads. They really are very, very good. Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding as Allie and Jay in this. They really are the best thing about this, because the whole thing kind of takes place in a night. And so, or is it 2 nights?
No, it's all Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right. It's all Valentine's Day. Yeah. So basically they're tasked with, and I guess it's a testament to how the script is written too, but basically you have to buy it that these people could have feelings for each other in a day. And they do well enough. The dialogue, it's written well enough. They do a good enough job to where you do buy it by the end. At least you buy it enough to where you feel like it's coming from a somewhat believable place. So that's good. You said a little bit about the ending and how you felt that it was weaker, Sterling. And I think one of the reasons for that is because of the lack of focus on the horror slasher elements. I think maybe if that stuff was stronger, in the end, when we're learning, getting the answers and learning about everything and stuff like that, I think it might have been more impactful. But it couldn't be, because that just wasn't the main focus of this movie. So that's kind of where we are with it. But overall, I thought it was an entertaining movie. I think that this was fun. It was fun to mix these concepts, and I haven't seen a movie in a while do it quite like this. So I thought that it was cool. I think it's at least unique enough in that way. Though you are seeing similar things that you've seen before with the mass killer killing people, blah, 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 blah. But like, I think overall, the mixing the two concepts made it feel maybe more fresh than it was, because you've seen rom-coms and you've seen slashers, but this mix, I think, is what made it feel more fresh. So overall, a solid, entertaining movie. It's not going to blow you away. It's probably not going to be like a best ever or anything like that, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Not a bad way to spend your Valentine's Day. That's coming up.
That hadn't happened yet. Heather, what about you?
I think the best thing about this movie is the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously. I think that it really benefits from that. Like, it knows it's playing into tropes of rom-coms, and it knows that it's a pretty predictable slasher film at the same time. And for some reason, the fact that they lean into knowing those things makes this movie work the way that it does, you know? And I think that if it had been kind of like what you said, Jastin, like if the script had been done a little differently, it might have not worked as well. It really is that kind of towing that line of any different change in how they wanted to write this script or the story itself, and it would have gone over the line into not good. Very easily had the potential to do that. But I think the writing is done in a smart way enough to where they really toe that line well, with them knowing what this movie is and not taking itself seriously really gives this movie a benefit. But even aside from that, I think that it's just a fun, entertaining movie. Like, it's one of those where again, I agree with you, Sterling. Like the humor doesn't always land quite right in a lot of the cases, but it didn't take away from the fact that it was still a fun movie. Like the parts that work really work. And it is definitely due to our two leads for sure. Olivia Holt is really good. I've seen her in a few things and she is really good. She's very natural. Mason Gooding, like I realize he is a Nepo baby, but I actually think he's very good. And Jastin, I know you didn't really see the latest Scream movies, but he's in those as well. And I think he's good in those too. But he's just, what I have seen of him, he's very good. Like he's very charming in this. He really plays well to the type of character he's supposed to be. They both really do. And yeah, I think that it's the outcome of the ending really is lacking. I would definitely agree with that. And even though I'm not super offended by the ending necessarily, it definitely is not what makes the movie good. It's all of the other in between stuff and like the backdrop of like what you said, like this horror thing happening in the background of this budding romance. And it just, that's really what makes the movie enjoyable, is that fun, entertaining, towing the line between the two to see what's going to happen. I guess in a way it's sort of like that Totally Killer movie that we watched, with a little bit more of the rom-com aspect up front. But yeah, I think it's a better story than expected, because even just based off the trailer, it feels like it's that very surface, very like, cool, this is going to be the same as like a B-rated Netflix horror film or something. And while it is a very basic story and all of that, it just works. Like the writing is done well enough to where this just kind of works as a whole for me. So yeah, I agree. Not at all a bad film. Is it perfect? Is it great? No, but it is entertaining for sure.
Recommendations and scores?
Let's do it.
Recommendations and score.
Heather, what you got?
Yeah, I had fun with it. I think it was just a silly, fun little movie. And if you enjoy slasher films, if you enjoy rom-coms, if you enjoy knowing that they both have tropes that you can play into, yeah, I think you'll like this movie. You definitely could see worse Valentine's Day movies, and you definitely could see worse rom-com or horror movies. Good performances, especially by our leads. Certain characters could have been utilized in a better way, but overall, it's a fun journey that like I really was interested to see how everything was going to play out in the very end of it. So yeah, I would recommend it. Definitely think it's got a unique thing about it that just kind of makes it work. So that being said, obviously it's not a perfect film. I'm going to give it 73 drive-in movie slaughters out of 100.
Jastin, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, the movie is executed well enough to be a recommend. And like with Valentine's Day coming up, I mean, it seems like one of those, if you're in the mood for this type of film, it seems like it would hit all the right notes, especially if you're fans of horror and but you want to see something that's kind of seasonal for the holiday. It kind of fits the bill. One thing I will say though is that just based on the previews I saw and everything, they were really heavy on advertising the slasher aspects of it. Like every preview that I remember seeing gives the illusion that this is really going to be about the slashing and the killing and this hard-eyes killer that's doing all of this. And, it really seems like it's about the slasher. So just a forewarning for those people who may be coming in thinking, oh, this is going to be like Friday the 13th or something. It's not quite that. There are these long, extended periods where we're just getting into the love stuff and there is no killing happening. You know, there is no slashing happening. And so I know that there might be some slasher fans in there watching this going, where's the killing? Like, where's the slasher? So I do think you might, you might have some people run into that and that be a problem for them, because there really are some lulls where you're just kind of wondering where is he at? What is Hard Eyes doing? So, I mean, so I think that is something to consider. The way it was advertised and what it is kind of two different things. But what it is not bad. Like, I still think, even though maybe you're not getting necessarily everything that was advertised, I think you do get enough of it. And I think the story is still good enough to where you might still have a good time with it, even though it's not exactly maybe what they initially said it was. So, but overall, it's still good enough. But I did just want to throw that outlier out there because I just remember the impression I got from the previews. And then thinking back on it, I was like, kind of wasn't really that though, but it is what it is. I'm in a similar place with you, Heather. I gave it 70 straws that broke the Hard Eyes back ish out of 100.
I get what you tried to do there.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. I mean, if you had to choose between Hard Eyes and Love Hurts, one gives you hard eyes and one hurts. I think a lot of what you guys said, it does a slightly better job of navigating those two wildly different genres. But I get what you're saying, Jastin. It's a little, less on the slasher side. And it's not that, to me, it's not that it sits less. It's for the type of slasher it's trying to be. You're supposed to be trying to figure out who is it, why they're doing it, because it's a mystery. It's a mystery slasher. And so you lose all sense of those elements in this movie because it's just slasher and rom-com. But the whole point of the mystery slasher is to maybe pick up a clue here and there, or like notice something here or there, or to like realize the motivations or something. And since it's just so weak on that, and it's just kind of guy killing, that when you get to the end and you get the payoff of who it is and why they're doing it, whatever, and all this other stuff, you're just like, oh, okay. I guess that's the thing, and that's what it is. And that's just, it's a bummer, it's just a bummer when that happens, but it does a pretty good job of navigating a lot of stuff before that. It just, like Jastin said, since its focus is split, it made the decision to lean one way over the other, and it, does have some drawbacks because of that. I'm right around you guys. 70. Killings while fucking. Or being killed while fucking. At a drive-in. Out of 100. So that's CineScores. Ooh, it's what, a 71, I think. I should have actually done the math instead of doing all this other stuff. But I was right, 71. 71 exactly. No even need to round. So spoilers?
Yep.
Yep.
Spoilers.
I mean, we might as well get into it. It's a thing. Jastin's favorite segment, the end of the movie. I hated that it was the fucking cop woman. That was so dumb to me. I get that they were trying to tease it through. Oh, I'm just trying to find love. But like, I'm supposed to buy that either she's just transferring to all these different police precincts all over the country every year, or that she's going on vacation every year to do these things, and she just happens to want to do it in her hometown this time. I don't buy it. That makes no sense. Like, I don't get it. I don't like it's the IT guy. Okay. And they're like, oh, we found each other online. We're the only two that get each other. And we love hunting. But we're in a throuple with some motherfucker you don't need to know because we killed him 20 minutes ago. Or you killed him, technically, is what the character is saying. But still, okay. What in the hodgepodge of bullshit was that? None of that. Not a single aspect of that felt satisfying in any way, shape, or form. I just hated it. And then, like, they were kind of doing the whole nod at, like, the killers are invincible, but holy fuck, also, like, God, they were taking so much damage. I mean, she got shot in the fucking liver. That's death. That's death, guys.
Got that cop liver, though.
That's even quicker death, because cop liver is typically riddled with cirrhosis.
With donuts?
Jastin, I don't think anybody's ever made the claim that donuts help your liver. I think that is the first time
powdered sugar
that's ever been uttered.
All that powdered sugar in your liver.
So wait, Jastin, do cops just eat Little Debbie's donuts?
I think so. Isn't that what they eat? They have to eat it, right? It helps them.
The donuts, because those aren't even donuts; they're donuts. No, Jastin, I think they're actually regular donuts. Is the idea?
I used to love those Little Debbies, though. They're messy, but they were scrumptious.
Dude, my favorite was the chocolate wax donuts, dude. The little chocolate ones. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, all that powder gets everywhere, though.
I know. That's why I ate the chocolates.
It's a cross to bear, but I really like the powder.
That's why you eat the chocolate, dude. I had a system too. You take the chocolate donut, right? You break it in half. You break the chocolate seal, and then you dunk it in milk, and you let the milk soak in to the bread center. So when you eat it, it is just a hard chocolate soaked milk sponge. Delicious. I have a weird thing, guys. If I dip something in milk, it has to be in milk till it's soggy. Like, barely having any structural integrity soggy.
I do that with Oreos. Boy, I'll put like 3 or 4 of them in there.
Jastin.
You get you a little cup.
Oh, Jastin.
And you put like 3 or 4 of them in the milk, and you just let them sit, bro.
Jastin.
You just let them sit. And that's messy, too. It's another cross, Sterling. It's another cross you will have to bear. It's messy.
No.
Boy, but Sterling, man.
Jastin. No, you're saying that like I don't do that. But you're also saying that as somebody that just doesn't know the secret. What you do is you take a fork and you stick that into the Oreo cream. and you use the fork to hold it down in the milk, Jastin,
Oh man.
until it's as soggy as you want it to, till the air bubbles stop. Like you've essentially drowned
Yeah,
it.
the air bubbles. Yeah, they stop.
It stopped because you know you drowned it. You killed the Oreo.
We're
It
the
is
same. Did we just become best friends?
I don't know, Justin. We both forgot.
You wait for the air bubbles too?
Yes, Justin.
I thought I was the only
No,
one that
Justin.
did that. Are we going to go on a killing spree?
Justin, as weird as it is, I treat Oreos like I'm a fucking serial drowner. I'm not sitting there. I'm not risking it. I'm not risking that Oreo still being alive and escaping. It's down there till it ain't breathing. But you use the fork, dude. So that way your fingers aren't in. There's no mess.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to get on that, man. You made something more efficient for me.
Yeah.
I can't believe I never thought about using a fork like that. I don't know.
Or Jastin, if you're gonna
just get all handsy with it.
If you're gonna do it the other way, Jastin, don't do a cup. Pour the Oreos in a bowl with some milk like you're eating it as cereal.
Oh man,
and do it with
see,
a spoon.
That's wild, bro. I just always had a cup with it.
I get it.
I don't know.
That's your instinct because it's cookies and milk.
Yeah.
Saying, if you're going cup method,
the cup.
dude, fork is the way to do it. But I'm just saying, if you just want to eat a mess of soggy, crumbly Oreos, put it in a bowl, dude. Eat it with a spoon.
Man,
that way you don't have to get handsy, like you said.
These are wild ideas, Sterling, but I like them.
Put like 6 Oreos just in a bowl, pour some milk on it. And if they float, you push them down with the spoon until they stop floating. And they're dead.
Oh man.
And then just let it sit for another minute, just in case. You don't want that Oreo pretending it's dead. You want to know it's dead. Just sit and wait 1 more minute. After all the bubbles, 1 more minute. Spoon.
Okay. You know, I don't know. It's crazy we went this way, but I'm glad we traveled this way because now I have some stuff that I can try. And I'm not really making fun of cops or saying all they eat is donuts. I mean, but if I was a cop, it'd be Oreos coming out of my liver. That's what I would be eating.
I mean, if you want a little bit of history, I know the history of cops and donuts. I know
what is that about.
So
what is that about?
Back in the day, in most towns, the only things that were open would typically either be a diner in a big city, but in smaller places, it tended to be a donut shop where the only things open 24/7. So if you're a cop working at night, the only place you had to eat was the donut shop because that's where you could get coffee and food. And so it just became a thing of cops congregating at donut shops at night. And then it just kind of became a thing of cops and donuts. Yeah. Very simple history.
Okay. That checks out. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry I interrupted your whole thing.
No.
About the cop, but yeah.
But yeah, like it's one of those things where this one will get shot in the liver, like neck gets jujitsu'd, all kinds of stuff, and then they legitimately have to impale her on a statue until her head her body falls off her head. But like absurd amounts of damage. And then her boyfriend, IT guy, the guy from that classic, hey, I fixed your computer singing. And then was like, hey, are you on Bumble or whatever? Also, is that not the most, of course, he's a serial killer thing ever? Like, oh, this random character gets introduced in the middle of the movie and they're just making sure you see the fuck out of him. But, whatever. Dude, he gets like stabbed, candle wax lit on fire, shot, arrowed through the face, all kinds of shit until he gets strawed. Holy shit. That's a lot. But and then, then there's the other guy that just is one of them. Do we even know his name? Was it like Sean? He looked like a Sean. No offense to any Seans out there. Or all the offense. I don't know.
But he looked like the Sean where it's spelled S-E-A-N, where it seems like
Those
but it's Sean.
pretentious
I hate
motherfuckers.
that. When you first met a Sean with that name, did you think it was Scene? I thought it was Scene, dude.
Yeah.
And then they go, it's Sean. And I'm like, why is it spelled like that? Why does it say Scene?
So,
I was so mad when I was a kid.
Is that Jimmy Don sausage? No. Jimmy Dean. Because it's Scene. Not Don. It's not Sean. Fuck you. You're the worst. The only time I'm accepting of people's names not being pronounced the way they look is if you're Irish. Because they're all over the place with that shit. Like Siobhan. Man, that's spelled Siobhan. Like a psychopath. But they do that with all their names. So I'm like, at least you're consistent. All your names are fucked. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. Consistency. But like Sean, it'll be like Sean Baker. And it's Scene Baker.
Yeah, it's Scene. It just used to kind of upset me when I was a kid. I was like, but it's Scene. There's no H in this.
And I think it's because distinctly there is a proper way to spell Sean because the other people spell it that way. Like that way exists. That means your parents went out of their way to spell your name wrong and then gaslight you into telling you pronounce that as fucking Sean. Like, dude, it's even worse when you're in like kindergarten and first grade and you're just learning how to spell shit and you get that fucking motherfucker coming in and going, nah, my name is Sean. Like, motherfucker, I just learned yesterday. SH is the only thing that makes that sound. And you're coming at me with an SEA and telling me that's not C. Come on. Fucking dicks. Like that guy that died. But like, what's the point of making him a throuple? Just to have him not be a throuple in the actual movie. You know what I mean? They're like, actually, we're a throuple. Like, but you're not. Because as far as this movie is concerned, y'all aren't together. It's just like, I just hated all of that. I mean, the death and fight scene aspects of it are fine. But the whole reveal, culmination of the whole killing scheme, all that stuff was just, it felt forced, lazy, out of left field, and just an afterthought to every other thing they had done in this movie. And I hated that. Because it just was dumb. I really hated that. Anyway, Heather, what about you? What are some thoughts you had?
Yeah, I think that I do. I mean, I definitely agree about the throuple situation and just the ending of it too. But I guess while they do still do, I guess, like a tropey thing of motive for the killers, I guess in a way I am glad that it wasn't the trope of I hate Valentine's Day because my heart was broken and whatever else. Like, I'm glad that they didn't go with that trope as like the reason for why they were killing people because that I kind of expected in some way that was going to be what it was, but I'm glad they didn't go that route. I guess I don't know. I guess one of the things that I kind of think was a little bit of a missed opportunity is in the scene at the drive-in movie theater when they get into the van of the people having sex in the back. I actually think that it would have been interesting if, like, because you keep hearing them making noises in the back. I think it would have just been funny if, like, you think it's sex noises and they turn around and it's actually Hard Eyes, like, already killing them. Like, I just think that kind of would have been a funny way to reveal that Hard Eyes, like, found them or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. And I think, like, Devon Sawa, who plays the Jordana Brewster's partner, the other cop in the movie, they should have utilized him better. Like, because in a way, he's very much like a horror movie legacy person. And I just feel like if you're going to have him in your horror movie, just make him a better character than what he was, because he just was creepy cop. That's kind of all his role was. And I just think that they should have done his role better, or they should have just done Devon Sawa better, because I don't know, you could have done some fun things with that. And I also like, I think that, yes, the movie was predictable in the sense of, even with the cop, when you don't see her die in the police station, I think it's pretty clear at that point that it could be her. And then when she's offering to give a ride to Jay at the end, and she's like, yeah, I'll take you, whatever. Like, she was just acting suspicious in a lot of different ways for me. So that's why I was like, okay, I think that's where it's going. But I agree with you, Sterling. I think it's dumb that, like, the cop is the killer because of just this whole, they've been everywhere. And then especially, like, even if it is more than one person, they're apparently, I don't know if they were husband and wife or they were just, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever they were still had been together for quite some time. So it's like, they would have gone to the hometown before, they probably would have started there, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, easier access to, like, try some stuff that you want to do with your killing. But I do also like that they kind of, not, I guess maybe midway through, after our two leads kind of have their date non-date thing and they go back to her place, that the Hard Eyes is already there, that Hard Eyes is already, like, involved, and, like, they are confronted by and are faced with Hard Eyes as early on in the movie as they were. That was kind of nice, even though I knew that was going to happen because of the trailer. I just like that was done a little differently than other movies where you feel like they're trying to find him the whole time or something, but then it's not till, like, the very end game part of the movie that the two leads are faced with the killer, right? So I just like that they had them have that kind of encounter with him. And yes, it's scary for them, but it serves as, like, sort of a funny moment in the movie as well, because, she tries to talk to him and she's like, we're not even a couple. Why are you trying to kill us? And, like, all these things that they're still doing when they're confronted with this killer. And I think that's a big part of when the whole, like, they're leaning into not taking themselves seriously plays in, because they're having, like, this heart-to-heart conversation a little bit. And then they see him. And then when they get away from him, it's very lovey-dovey while they're by the door. And they're just like, yeah, are you okay? And, like, really having this moment in a part of the movie when they shouldn't be having a moment. It just all really played in a funny way. And I thought that was where the humor did work, is when they had, like, the situational things happening when it should have been like the opposite reaction they're having, because they're also doing a love story on top of the horror story. But yeah, I think even like I really liked their back and forth too with the main characters of, yes, they're attracted to each other, they like each other, but they had a lot of opposition in different moments. Like their bickering back and forth with each other was really funny. When he's mad at her because he thinks like she gave him up as the Hard Eyes killer or got him in trouble for that. They just had some really silly moments that was really good. I feel like they're the setup of them, like kind of they're working together, right? Or they're supposed to be like working on this campaign together. I think that they could have set that up better, but again, I guess because it's all done in one day's time, it's a little bit harder to do that set up in a better way. Which also, I think the worst character in this entire movie was her boss. Her boss was super annoying. Like, she was a trope that did not work for me, because she was just so over the top with how she spoke, how she looked. Like everything about her was just a trope on trope of a person, and she was just super annoying. But yeah, I think that they could have done the setup of like why they're interacting with each other a little bit better. But I did like how they had a full circle moment of a year later, you know, she's leaving the job and all that stuff. But yeah, I actually do think also that the killing scenes, or the violence and the way the kills happened, I do think those were creative. Like I did actually like that opening killing number where they're at the winery. I was thinking that was going to be the worst part of the movie because of how the characters were acting when that scene opens up. But then you see why it's playing out that way, and you see that this girl is just like, she's trying to plan everything to a T, and she's trying to make everything perfect. And you see that that's why she's acting so fake up front. It's not bad acting in the movie. It's just her acting as this character. But yeah, I think that was a good way to open it, because we're setting the stage of, we get brutal killings kind of up front, like especially with her. So yeah, I do like how they did that. And I also think that maybe they could have done the glowing hard eyes a little bit more, though. They only did that one time, I think, right?
They do it a little bit just more towards the end and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a big missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That he only does it in the dark. Like there's just turn them on. That's just
Yeah.
cool. It looks cool. Just do it.
Yeah. And I also think that the storyline of Olivia Holt's character just coming out of that relationship, they could have maybe done a little bit more with that. Like, I know that the killers at the end said, oh, we were actually going to, you know, kill that couple that you guys were meeting up with or whatever. Just because they made it feel like that was going to be a bigger story later on. I just think they should have done something else with it, or have them be some of the victims. Like, I think that would have been an interesting little plot development in it, where, you know, Olivia Holt's character is like trying to get away from them with her new love interest, but then also hears on the news about her ex-boyfriend being killed by it, and more motivation to figure out who this is. That could have been a nice little touch to put in the movie. But again, like, it's a very basic story, like execution, I guess I would say, but done in a way where you're not losing interest. I feel like I can't quite explain why it just feels like such a smart movie to me, because of the fact that it's very simple, tropey things that happen, but the way it's all put together, and the way that the horror and the rom-coms, they kind of have to go hand in hand to play the way it does in this movie. It just really toes it almost perfectly with how they do the two of them. And I know, like, Jastin, you were saying, you kind of put the rom-com more up front than the horror part of it with like the slasher elements in the film, which is true. But I think that's still, it perfectly evened out with how much they needed to in the way that they did this movie. Like they needed the rom-com up front a little bit more with the backdrop of the slasher thing. So yeah, I don't know, especially because of the ending we get, right? Where they're like, they end up together and they're happy like a year later. Like that's kind of what you want to see at the end of this movie with these two people that survived it and basically killed the Hard Eyes guy. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think it was a good choice to put the rom-com part up front, but it's also because we've seen this movie like separately. We've seen this movie a million times, right? Like separately as a rom-com, this movie is like 15 other movies you can think of. As a horror film by itself, it's the same thing you've seen 15 other times in a horror movie. But when you put them together the way they did, it just kind of stands out a little bit as just a more entertaining and fun version of what you have seen that many times. So, yeah.
Jastin, what about you?
Ooh, so, yeah, I think I like that scene too at the beginning, where the first few kills that happen and the way that the bride to be got smashed in that. What was that? I don't even know what you call that machine, but the smasher that was in the winery.
That's a grape like a grape crusher. Like you
I was
load
just
grapes.
about to say, does that crush grapes?
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Okay, cool. I figured that's what that was. But like that was a pretty cool opening scene. I thought that all of that was pretty cool. It was a good introduction to this Hard Eyes character. And you're getting these little tidbits of them saying that, every Valentine's Day they've traveled to these different these different locations, and they're killing couples, et cetera, et cetera. And so you hear all of that. You're just kind of storing this information. And, when you first meet Allie and Jay and the situation surrounding that, how it the kind of serendipitous situation that happens at the coffee shop. Of course, it plays out, like you said, just 100 other like romance comedies we've seen before, and them finishing each other's sentences and all of that kind of stuff. But I agree, Heather, because it was leaning more on the comedy and the satire side of that, it allowed them to do the tropes, but they're kind of winking at the camera and going, you know what this is, nod, nod, wink, wink. And the characters were playing into that. Like even though, yes, they were acting with good chemistry to show that we're developing the love story and everything, they were acting with the comedic timing and in a way to where the film is constantly winking and nodding at the romance comedy stuff, and like it's constantly doing that. But I guess you could say it's cute enough. It's the they get away with it enough because you just had really two good lead performers that were able to get you to buy into the kind of comedy that the movie was selling. So I think that's what stands out about the rom-com part. Yeah, it knew it was, and it wasn't taking itself seriously with a lot of those elements, and it was leaning more into the comedic stuff. I like that scene too, where they were being chased by Hard Eyes, and they get outside, and he saves her from the oncoming vehicle, and they're on top of each other. It's just doing stuff that you've seen a million times. And then they almost kiss, but then he comes out, and then she's like, we're not even a couple. And he's like, go kill somebody else. They did have some of those situational things they were doing were funny, but it was kind of cool on the outside looking in because knowing what you know about rom-coms, you can see the love growing. You could see, it had the stories, the parts of that it needed to have. And then them having the heartfelt conversations and understanding each other. And even though this is a lot of stuff we've seen before, one thing that was cool was how they talked about how their parents influenced their views of love. I did really like that talk. I liked how Jay was like, my parents were miserable. They hated each other and everything like that. So he was kind of on this mission to prove that relationships don't have to be like that. I'm going to find the love that my parents ever had. And then I liked her being like, well, my parents did have this great love, but one of them died and everything like that. So at least they were doing good character building with them. So you understood Allie's pessimistic viewpoints towards love. And then her kind of hanging on what the ex was doing because it was hurting her that the ex moved on so quickly and she wasn't able to move on. And she's kind of stuck because of this mindset and everything. That's also why when she made the ads, they were very pessimistic kind of love ads and situations. And some of that stuff was kind of funny with the Bonnie and Clyde and she's kind of taking tragic love stories and trying to use them in an ad.
Hey, say what you will. The cinematography in that ad was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
doing the red ribbons and stuff, and like, but they would
it
do
was kind of cool.
Dude, that was fucking cool. I get why in universe it's a bad idea, but in my universe, do that shit. I might buy something. That was cool.
I like the Titanic-ish kind of scene where she's on the door or whatever, and she's like laying there like in a modeling pose, and he's hanging on the side of the.
But it's like red behind her. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just red behind her, and and he's like the Leo DiCaprio. So they were having some fun with a lot of that stuff, and all of that stuff is cool. And they were leaning into the comedy, and it was great, and they weren't taking themselves seriously. However, the problem with this and doing this is that when we got to the end and it needed to be about the slasher, we couldn't take any of that shit seriously either so that we could stay on tone. So none of that was as serious as it needed to be. Them randomly seeing them kiss and going, oh, that's why we're after you. So this whole movie, that's why. No connections to why we're killing, other than we just saw y'all kiss. It felt, it was so random. And I guess it's supposed to be funny because this is a comedy and it's like, they just happen to see him kiss and that's why they're coming after him. I guess I could see how to somebody that's just another comedic thing that happened. But the slasher fan in me wants the slasher to have a better connection with our protagonist that we're trying to kill. And the cop, I go back to Thanksgiving. The cop being the killer worked in that movie because we saw him from the beginning. We saw he had a connection with the characters. We understood that he was planning this for a year, and we understood how he could use his occupation as a cop to make all of this happen and to plan this whole big thing. And there was this big connection with everything that happened. That's how you do this shit. Like this, I think because it had to lean on the comedic elements of it, there was no part of it that made you kind of understand why the killers were doing this. Even the thruple thing. Like, I was just like, y'all, what exactly was that? Was that, and I understand he was kind of a copycat, he idolized him and stuff, so they brought him in, but what was any of that about? And again, it's kind of that, we're being told, and that's kind of the I guess the negative of it too, the double-edged sword of it too. We're being told all this stuff, but we didn't get to see any of this stuff. We don't know how this relationship came about. There weren't any scenes with this triple guy where maybe he's a citizen and he's with the other characters and he's like, man, I just, and maybe he's like obsessed with this and he's trying to, like I think in another writer's hands or something, maybe there's a character that seems like he's not part of it, but is obsessed with them and stuff like that. And maybe you get to the end and find out, oh shit, he is a part of it. His obsession, he found that before anybody and embraced it or something like that. I just feel like if you were taking the slasher stuff more seriously, you might have come up with some more, some kind of, not even so much more serious, but at least some more understandable plot points to understand why all of this has happened. I didn't hate the fact that the killers were this couple. That tracks. There's a protagonist couple and there's an antagonist couple. I don't hate that idea. And then them having this kink, they just like to kill people and stuff like that. But why Valentine's Day? You could just kill people anytime. Did you like? Were you a fan of the holiday? They might have said maybe they met on the holiday, or did you know what I mean? Like, if they mentioned it. Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again.
I was just saying, no, that's a good point, because like they don't really say why Valentine's Day. All they just say is our end game is in this place because of the St. Valentine statue that's here. Like, that's really the only thing they say about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And she was kind of monologuing about St. Valentine's and how the story and the head cut off and stuff. But none of that to me correlated with the motive for why we're doing this. And see, this is what I mean by this felt like someone who had a great idea of how to do a romance comedy, but kind of was a fan of slashers, did this. So that's kind of what you get.
And it really kind of sucks because we've actually reviewed something else by this director on this podcast. This guy also directed The Werewolf Within.
Man, that was good.
Yeah, we love that movie. And it kind of shows
was good.
He knows how to do some of the stuff. I mean, it could be the script. I don't think he wrote this one. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things where, like holy coincidences, Batman, because she's like, this cop was going around to all these places and killing people. And she just lucks out that she has the same initials as the fucking main character in this. And also that he had gone to those same cities on the same fucking day that they were killing her. Oh, how fucking coincidental is all that shit?
Exactly. And you would think that there'd be some sort of correlation, like one of them had a connection to him or something like that. Because, they're putting all that out there like it's all going to come together at the end. And it just doesn't. It was just hella random. We just saw y'all kiss, and that's why this old shit is happening. We just...
Yeah, like, they're running around all over the country. And, like, I guess they're just lying to work all the time. Like, when because she's a cop in Seattle, I guess. And then she's, like, going to Boston, but tells everybody she's going to Austin, or something like, and it's just like, oh, it's crazy that you're gone every Valentine's Day to a place that sounds like the same name as somewhere else. And then all of a sudden it's happening here. Like, it's just dumb like that. Like, I get what you're saying, Jastin. There needs to have been a better connection. Something.
Yeah. Or at least, why couldn't you have done, like, I mean, this is supposed to be romance shit. There could have been a fun montage. I just hate that we were just being exposited all of this shit. Why didn't we do a love montage with them that was crazy and fucked up and bloody and them killing each other and falling in love and shit like that? Do one of those cliche ass love montage shits, but that could have been them.
Dude.
Explaining how this happened.
Instead of them licking each other's faces while they're like, oh, we just love hunting people and we found each other online. How about whenever they're saying, hey, when we found each other online, that's when they're just kind of doing the flashes of like that. Just while they're explaining their backstory, you just see images and little snippets of them massacring people across the country.
Yep.
Yeah, just massacring people, getting in this car and you could have played this real heartfelt song or songs or whatever, or some heartfelt, like really like super love emotional song, and they're just doing all this horrible shit. Like, why wasn't that in here for them?
Guys, what if they did their killer montage in the same style as that fucking commercial?
Ooh, that would have been cool.
That would have been tight. That would have been cool.
Good opportunity that would have been.
Yeah. It would have been a cool full circle moment because you could have brought that back and you could have showcased them. But like, and that's the thing. That's why it feels like our scales just aren't balanced, because you could tell a lot of thought was put into the dialogue and developing the relationship and the comedy of that. But over here, man, we were just really lacking with the slasher. It was like beyond the hard eyes and the scary look, and he's gonna have arrows and kind of the reverse Cupid thing. Beyond that, we just didn't have much when it came to the answers. But some of this stuff, I think, would have helped me a bit. Like if I could have just seen their love and their connection and how they came together. And I think it's like, and it would have almost been cool if it was like, in a lot of ways, how these two characters met. There were these serendipitous situations and this happened and that happened. It'd be cool if like we got another love story, but this is like a bad one. You see what I mean? And that's what they were doing, but we need to see some of that shit. If we're not going to have any connection with the characters,
in a slasher movie, show us some more kills.
Yeah.
When in a slasher movie, or you're like, you know what? They killed
less kills.
They killed a little too much in a slasher movie. I wish they had told us about some kills instead of showing us some kills. When has that ever been said?
Even if you had done some stupid shit where like her dating profile online was like, blah, 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 smart, this, that, and the other, working girl, blah, blah, blah. I like to kill people too, or some shit. And then he messages back, or or he swipes right or whatever, right? And then they're talking, and then it seems like a casual conversation of two people trying to get to know each other. And then one of them's like, so do you like killing people like I do? And then the other person's like, hell yeah, just some dumb shit. Dude, like why didn't we do more like fun, dumb shit?
Dude, have them on like a date, and like they're cooking dinner for each other, and one of them cuts their hand and they see the blood and they just get all horny, and then they realize that they like killing people. And that's when they like make it a meet cute.
Yeah.
Like they meet on dating apps, and like I said, they're all doing a little date, and it's like cut, and they're just like, ooh, the blood. Let's fuck. And then, then it shows them killing people and making out on their corpses or whatever. They just show that stuff.
Yeah. Like we totally needed that for them. Like if they're not going to have any connections with the characters where like, for us to understand that, then just help us understand their twisted love for each other. And yeah, the IT guy too felt like a total cheat, how he was just in literally one scene and then all of a sudden it's him. And I hate when a movie does that shit. I hate that shit. I don't like it. I never like it. And you just can't get away with it here. Like, I'm just going to want something else beyond that. So.
I also don't like that at the end, too, their whole thing was, here, take this gun, and in the bullet, there's one bullet, and you either shoot yourself or you shoot this guy that you just met tonight or whatever. I didn't like that because I'm like, literally, I would have done what she did, which is shoot one of them. Like, why would that not be your first thought if somebody gives you a gun with one bullet?
Dude,
you know,
Great point.
That is
And I'm
the
so glad that you
stupidest
brought that
thing.
up, because while that was happening, I was like, they never fucking did anything like this. Like, how come, where were these love test sacrifice things with other characters or anything like, or any of the other victims? Why, again, it's just that mishap of your villain acts one way the whole movie, and then at the end just starts doing dumb shit
And
or
it's
just
because,
uncharacteristic shit.
and
So
it's
yes,
because there's
Heather, that was
yeah, but it's because there's no connection. So there's
yeah.
no grounding force to the killers. They're just whatever. Like,
Yeah. Now, if they were
Yeah.
special to him, or if one of them tried to date one of them years ago and they fucking stood him up on a date, or if there was something, if there was some connection or reason, then maybe that's why we're doing this test thing. But why
What
didn't
if-
they just kill him?
I mean, what if it could have been even like they targeted them because, you know, like Jordana Brewster's character actually did go on a date with Jay, right? And then
oh,
or something.
no.
Right.
The easiest way to fix that is just have them target people that matched with them on the apps and blow them off.
Yep, that's good too.
And they found
that
each other.
works too.
But like it's the weakest and most tangential thing. But at least, because if he had gone on a date with her because of the character he was, the argument would be that he would remember her.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, because I mean, my thought was going to be like, what if it's like a, you know, she made the other girl choose like who to kill, or maybe even the guy wanted to go on a date with the girl or something when she's having the monologue at the end and she's like, I actually fell for you. And then they get mad because they're like, well, why didn't you fall for me the way you fell for him? And like that, you know, it makes them angry or something. Like it would mean some kind of a connection of like, well, you know, that's what I wanted with you, but you want that with this guy. Like that would just kind of feel like more of an actual personal motive to do that, something like that. But again, also what you said, like just, you know, I wanted to go on a date with you. We hit it off and you blew me off and ghosted me. That's also something that could have worked better too.
Yeah, any number of things. You know, what it's not the best, but at least it can almost be a little bit more Scream-esque. Have her like sister was like starting to date that Jay character. And you know, but because he was traveling all the time, they, you know, never really ended up staying in a relationship or whatever. And so after they broke up, she started, you know, getting on the dating apps and got with some fucking guy that was terrible and killed her. And that's what started it. And so like that started the obsession with it. And that's why she was following him around. And while they were following him around to all these different cities on Valentine's Day. And he wasn't, you know, but like originally you could have it be like where they had done it in some other cities too. And he wasn't getting with anybody though on Valentine's Day. And so they just started like, because of how fucked up their brains were, they just started killing other people, knowing that they were going to keep following him to wherever he was on Valentine's Day and kill people until he was in a couple. Then he was the focus, you know, something like that. Am I saying that's the best idea in the world? No, but it is at least a connection, something.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
if it's not gonna, real quick, Heather, if it's not gonna be a connection in that way, then why don't you make it part of the modus operandi? Maybe this is what they do on Valentine's Day. Maybe that's the significance of it, of Valentine's Day. Yeah, we kill people other days, but on Valentine's Day, we like to see one of the lovers kill the other one in hopes of surviving. Maybe this is the thing they do just on Valentine's Day. We kill them together, but we like to do this shit on this day or something like that. Or remember that last couple? Or they could have just mentioned it to each other. Remember that last couple? Yeah, she shot herself. Well, but the couple before that, he shot her. So, what are they going to do this time? You could make it part of what they do. And they could have just said that. This is we kill people, but we always pick a couple and do this. And it just happens to be this couple. This was what they were going to have to do.
I mean, and honestly, they could just lean into the whole moment when we first meet the IT guy. He just isn't like rejection at all. And he asked her out and she said no. And he's pissed off and he wants to kill her because of that and kill the guy that she did decide to go with. Like, there could have been other ways to use that one scene that dude was in before the end. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, or you at least at the very end, like Jastin was saying, like, okay, we kill people all the time, but on Valentine's Day we do this. We like to do the dress up because like they can actually make the hard eyes part. Just that's their romantic tradition. Like every other day they just kill people looking like themselves. But on Valentine's Day, they do an extra special throuple thing where they're all in costume and they all do it together and they all do this and that and whatever. Like you have it be where they all run around the country just killing people independently. Like say all three of their hometowns. That's why it's Boston and it was some other place and Seattle, right? They're a couple, but they all live far away from each other and they just kill people at home all the time. But every Valentine's Day, they go to one of their hometowns to do it all as a throuple. But then you can have this be the reason why they were extra special with them at the end was because they're like, you're just the first couple that gave us a run for our money. You're the first person couple that challenged us. You're special to us now. You became special. Now, to make this Valentine's Day that more special because of you, we're killing you in this place.
That would have played better. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you tying in the holiday, but it also ties into why they're doing this. Because, the way that they executed it was it just seemed so random after everything we were doing. We just didn't do anything like that the whole movie. And then suddenly we were doing it. And when you do it that way, it just feels like you're writing this so the characters have some way to escape. You're not doing it because it makes narrative sense.
And their motivations are weak and all this other stuff. Like, I hate the fact that she's a fucking cop in Seattle, killing people in Seattle. Like, as hard eyes. I fucking hate that. But if you give them just because it doesn't explain the other fucking cities. I don't get it.
Yeah.
If it happened in Seattle every year, sure, I would actually buy that. But the fact that it's like Seattle's the third city, in the third year of this happening, and she just happens to be a cop, I don't buy it. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, you need a better connection to it, in this and that. And that's why I'm saying, like, have it be where they're just killers that are in a relationship that's long distance. And like I said, it's just their tradition. And then I'd say if you're doing that, have it be like 5 years or something instead of 3, where it's actually happened multiple times just in those 3 cities. It's just random every year. 1 year is in Boston. What was the other city?
Man, I do
not
remember.
And so, like, you know what I mean? So, like, 1 year it's in Boston. The next year it's, I don't know, Cincinnati. The next year it's in Seattle. But then but have it be random. So like the next year after that was in Cincinnati. It's not like it follows a pattern. It's like they flip a coin or whatever, and they decide which of their hometowns they're going to murder people on Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? Something like that, to where you're actually getting more importance out of these places, and them being a couple. And so it makes sense that she's a cop there because they all have their lives in those places. But they do the heart eyes as the couple activity or throuple activity on those days. it at least makes it more important to them. All this other stuff. It also adds to their like psychopathy because they're just fucking killers year round. And they just go extra crazy killers on Valentine's Day as a weird, fucked up sex ritual. Like, just to get us extra horny. Before the end of the night, we kill people together.
Yeah, this is setting the mood or something.
But then also, if she's a cop,
Yeah.
why the fuck is she working that day? Why is she working the day she's supposed to be murdering? Doesn't that make it hard to go kill? How are you enjoying the hunt when you're fucking working all day, hunting yourself?
True.
Like, that's not the same. That's not really a hunt.
Yeah. Or maybe if they had just done something like, even if she was a cop and maybe he was already serial killing and she was, maybe she's doing her own killing over here and that person was hard eyes by himself. And maybe, she was this cop killing or whatever. And he was hard eyes by himself killing, and maybe they found she's the one that finds out who he is or something, or maybe they try to kill the same person or something, or maybe she's a cop trying to catch him and falls in love with him. That'd have been crazy too. I don't know. I just wish they had done something more with the cop shit. Like,
yeah.
Was she killing as a cop before she found him? Or was she, you see what I'm saying? So like, if it was something like, well, she was a cop and he was a serial killer and maybe he leaves notes or some shit and she started kind of falling for him, trying to catch him, and then did catch him and fell in love with him. I don't know. But that whole thing's confusing. Was she killing before and decided, oh, if I'm a cop, it'd be easier? Or did she meet him and then they decided to start killing? So she was just a cop you know what I mean? Like, I just wish the cop somehow being a cop was more like integral to what's happening. But
yeah,
but everything that everybody said is cool. We're kind of beating the dead horse talking about. I mean, but anyway, the drift is that this is why this part really suffered because, and I think because you had to keep it in this consistent comedy, satire type of tone, they went for to keep the integrity of that. They went for like this comedic kind of, well, let's have the killers and the reasoning and all of that stuff be kind of comedic and satirical and all of that kind of stuff too. And I just think it's good over here with the romance, but it just wasn't so good over here with the killers.
And if you can do that good of a romance story with those people, why can't you do a good romance with the killers? You showed you could do good romance. Just do it with them too.
Yeah.
I just found out that these are the same. Yeah, montage would have helped. No, you're good. Some of the writers of these were the people that also wrote Freaky and Happy Death Day to You, the second one. And one of the guys did like a lot of the Paranormal Activity ones. So it's not like they also don't know how to, write a horror story. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. And I kind of get that too with the whole, like, this does kind of fall in that same category as Freaky does, as far as it's the dark humor, or like it's the humorous mixed with the horror elements. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that being said, and knowing that, yeah, I think maybe the horror side could have maybe been done just a slight bit better there.
Yeah, I like Freaky. I like Happy Death Day to You. those work really good as slasher films. And, you know, I can't speak to the Paranormal Activities movies. There's like 98 of them, and I think I've seen maybe 3. I don't know. One of them was in the past. I don't fucking know. Like, it's whatever. But like, I know they can do that shit. And they showed us they can write the comedy side or the romantic comedy side of it. It's just, I don't know. They just kind of fucked up on this one a little bit. And the sad thing is it's not bad. And I think that's why
it's still not bad.
And I think that's why I'm kind of so upset about it, is because I'm like, it's there. You were so close.
Yeah.
It was.
Just a little more attention to that part of it. You know what I mean? Just a little more. That part has to be at least something you can kind of sink your teeth into. You got to at least be able to understand the killer or why the killer's doing it. Or it's got to be something, not understand like, yes, I would kill these people too, but more like, okay, at least I understand the motive. I understand why he was so depressed. I understand why he was so angry. I understand why he was brooding for a year and planned to do all this horrible shit. You know, like just something to help us understand why this is happening. And if you don't have the connection to the protagonist, then help us understand their connection. Help us understand why the couple is a couple. And maybe you could have bridged the gap at least a little bit.
Yeah. If you can write a whole rom-com from scratch, you could tell me why 2 people love each other.
Right.
Yeah. And I think if we just had that, if we just understood more why these killers love and do this, because they just said it's a kink. Okay, but it's an explanation, but not really though. It just wasn't enough. And I think maybe they thought it was enough. Like, you know, maybe they thought that was enough, but it wasn't.
If I got a kink, and I have them, I'm going to do them more than once a year. If if I'm with somebody. Sorry, Heather, I did that while you were drinking beer. But I'm just saying, like, isn't that the point of a kink, to do it?
Yeah, to do it.
Like,
you want to do it.
Like, I'm not going to sit there and go, man, my kink is to only do my kink on Valentine's Day. And I'm not trying to kink shame. I mean, I'm sure some people have stuff like that, but like, that's a little too specific of a kink. I can only do it on the 9th Valentine's Day, when it's on a Tuesday at 8 p.m. But I have to do my kink that's on my other kink. Like,
yeah, that'd be odd. Like, just imagine if I only drenched cakes at the pancake jamboree that comes every year.
I remember the pancake
it would
jamboree.
Just be weird.
Yeah, but we don't know you drench cakes at IHOP all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be drenching. So like that's all I'm saying. Like, if it's a kink or a special thing, you should be doing it more. And that's why, like, everything we said, I think works a little better. Just, yeah, we kill hella people, but on Valentine's Day, we kill like this. I like what you said, Star. Like, just, and what I said too, make it this special thing that Valentine's Day we kill this way.
Yeah, you make it a weird romantic kink for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's their romance.
This is how they set the mood.
Yeah.
This is what happens before sex.
Like, yeah,
this is what happens before the romantic.
Yeah,
stuff.
this is their flowers in a box of chocolates.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this is. That's what it should have been right there. And then all you had to do was show us a little bit of their love story, and then bam, right there. And then bam, go right into the motive of why this particular thing is happening on Valentine's Day. Bam, I might have been satisfied,
I mean, it's so weird the way that they talk about kinks, and it's the weirdest thing, because it doesn't actually feel like a kink. It really doesn't. Now I'm obsessed with that. Now I just want to keep coming up with vastly inappropriate metaphors for what their version of this kink was. All right, let's try some out. It's like a girl that just said, like, constantly just talks about how much she loves giving blowjobs, but she only does them on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like
She
a
would
guy.
at least need to specify. I just love giving Valentine's Day blowjobs.
Yeah, because that's like, you know what I mean. But but that's not what they're saying. It's like,
yeah, but
it's like a
not.
guy
Yeah,
that's
but
just
it's
like,
not.
I love being chained up and whipped, but only on Arbor Day. It's like a furry saying that they love nothing more but to have furry sex. I don't know what furries call sex. Not trying to be offensive or anything. I'm just saying I don't know what furries call it. So, but I'm just saying they love having their mascoted, dressed up sex.
Fex, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not opposed to that idea. But anyway, they love it. That's their favorite thing in the world to do. But they only do it on President's Day. Like shit like that. Like, it's just weird. Like that doesn't feel like a kink. That just ends up feeling like a tradition. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wish I had a weird one like that. I mean, not furry sex, but I don't have anything like that. Oh, on this day I do this thing, or I don't know.
I just looked it up. Apparently, it's called yiffing.
Yiffing?
What? How do you spell this?
YFF?
Spell that for me, please, Heather.
Yep, YFFING.
They don't even have a vowel between the Y and the F. These psychopaths.
No, it is. I'm sorry. YIFFING. Sorry, I just said that wrong. But yes.
YIFFING. Okay. Yiffing.
There's a name for it.
And this is two furries consummating furriness in costume.
Yeah, sexual activity in the furry fandom is often referred to as yiffing.
But that doesn't explain enough for me.
Yiffing can include sexual interactions in person or online, such as cybersex, erotic art, or sexual relationships with other furries.
But what if somebody's not in costume? Is it still yiffing? I need to know these answers.
I don't have that information. I'm not sure.
All right, I'm going to have to go find a furry. I have questions.
That's cool that they have a name. I kind of like yiffing. Sounds cute.
Yiffing sounds boring to me, though. I'd much rather just fuck.
It'd be fun asking, though. You want a yiff? Sounds cute.
Yeah, but that sounds boring. That
Does
doesn't sound like it's good sex.
But what if they smile when they say it? And the person's like, yeah, let's yiff.
Jastin, weirdly enough, I wasn't basing that on people's facial expressions while they said it.
Oh, see, I'm thinking if they're smiling real big and they're all excited because we're both this and we both want this.
But I'm just saying, it just
cute?
sounds like boring sex.
I'm picturing when you said that, just like the Kendrick Lamar, like smile to the camera.
Yeah.
If he's all, you want to yip? I'm horrible at smiling. I'm sorry, people. I know when I smile, I either look like somebody that's faking it, or I do look like a murderer. I get it. I've got nowhere in between. And you know who you can blame for that? My parents. That's who you can blame for that. Because when I was a kid, I would smile. That's like, hey, smile for pictures, cheese. I'd smile. And every time I did that, my parents went, Sterling, quit forcing it. Quit faking it. And I legit, my brain forgot how to smile at that point. Like, I don't know how to just do what is considered a natural smile on command. I don't know how to do it.
It's also just like counterintuitive because you're just like, well, if you're having me smile out of nowhere, like, why would it always automatically be a real smile? Like,
Well, but also to me, with the way my brain works, and I think I've given examples to where nobody should be surprised by this. If I'm smiling for a picture, it's a forced smile.
Mm-hmm.
Name one child that wants to be sitting in a fucking Sears with their family taking pictures all day. In clothes you hate. You know what I mean? You're never in the clothes you like taking those pictures. You're in the fucking clothes you hate and shit. And then, I smile the only way I know how, and I get criticized for it. It broke my fucking brain. I don't know how to fucking smile for pictures or just in general. If I have to just go, hey, smile, like I said, it either looks like an obvious fake smile or I'm a sociopath. And like, I do know one smile I can do. I don't know if I can do it like this with this camera angle, but I know how to do this thing where I can look down and go.
yep.
I don't know how I figured out that smile.
That smile is like I just found out a secret and no one else knows it type of smile.
I always thought it looks like my secret is the dead body in my room.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It looks a little too mischievous, Sterling. I'm definitely not getting yiff vibes from it. Like it's
All right,
more
Jess,
like,
can you show me a yiff smile, please?
I don't know if I could do it, Sterling.
Your best approximation of like, if somebody were to ask you if you wanted to yiff, what kind of smile would you want to see?
I don't know if I would smile though. I would probably
No,
go.
that you would want to see
ain't
from
no
the
fur.
person asking you to yiff. Because you
I
were
don't think I
talking
should
about
do
seeing a big happy smile when somebody asked somebody.
I don't think I could do it, brother. I wouldn't even know the first thing about yiffing.
I mean, technically we do. It's furry sex. We literally know the first thing about it. The problem is we don't know the other things.
But
We just know
that
step
term
one.
and that expression means like I don't have any experience doing it. I don't know how.
I'm
a
just going to
gift
throw this out
smiles.
here, Jastin. Nobody was claiming you did have experience with it. So the fact that you jumped to defending that you don't is rather suspicious.
I think
wouldn't
really
say
the
it in
question-
defense. I was defining the phrase which you were saying that I said, meaning something else, but I was telling you what it actually meant. I hate you.
I feel like the question was because you kept emphasizing, like, well, what if they smile like this? What would you say? Even if they smile like this?
Guys, I'm not going to lie. I probably did the most unintentionally dangerous thing ever. I just Googled yiffing. I probably just should have done that just out of nowhere. Just Googled yiffing.
Oh, wow.
But
Are they smiling?
no, to be fair, I got just a bunch of the first page on Google isn't any pictures or videos. It's just a bunch of places that are defining it. I'm like, I dodged a huge bullet.
Oh, good. That's a good thing.
I should
Yeah,
not
I guess
have.
I did bring this up, huh, Heather,
Just-
when I was like, oh, well, what if they're smiling?
And that's what I want to know, Jastin. I just want to know what you would consider a happy yiff smile.
I don't know. It sounds like a cute word. So I feel like,
Yes, Jastin. That's all.
you
I'm
know,
asking.
they would be laying there or dressing. I don't know. What are their activities? I don't know. Or what do they do once you're in it? Do you make animal noises?
Some do. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
gonna claim to be a furry expert. I find it all very weird, but I don't want to kink shame them. It is weird though.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm just saying, you know, maybe you're there making noises, but whenever it comes to the yiff, I just feel like they'd be like, oh, cool, I like doing this. I just feel like they would smile for that.
Yeah, but I find that there'd be just too much up in the air to ever feel comfortable yiffing, because like, what if somebody is in full costume but they only make animal noises, but you don't? Your furry persona can speak. and you're like, hey, you want a GIF? And they just go, woof, woof. Is that consent? I don't know. Motherfucker, I'd just be like, I need a yes or no.
But I would just think that if a sex offer is being made, you would probably smile at it. I mean, if it's with somebody
you're wearing
that
a mascot head in most cases.
I think you would still smile though.
But I'm saying you wouldn't see it.
I've never frowned when somebody
But Jess, I'm saying
was like, you want to have sex. I've never frowned.
I'm saying like big dog head. You ain't seeing no smile.
Sometimes you can't see it though. If it's big smile, you could just feel it through the mask.
So
or
wait,
the fur.
Maybe I'm confused. Are you saying if somebody in a furry costume asked you to GIF that you would smile, or are they smiling while they asked?
No, I am assuming that when offered gifting, because it is sex, and I am a human being, and I smile if I know I'm going to have sex. I'm assuming that they smile when they are going to have gift, because it is sex. And if you like sex, you will smile at the thought or the proposition of having it.
This explanation is perfect. It's a great explanation.
And this is also incredibly revealing, because that means Jastin's never had hate sex.
I don't think I have.
I'm just going to say, Jastin, you're missing out. A good hate fuck, at least once in your life. Everyone needs one. Where you're angry. Oh, it's fantastic. Just throwing that out there to all of you people. Have at least one hate fuck in your life.
Wait, am I lying? Wait, hold on.
Work it out.
I might have. I don't know if this counts though.
I mean, we don't got to get into it, but if you want, I don't care. I'm the last person to stop anybody from saying something. I've said way too much shit on here.
I mean, we're so far off the movie now that we're talking about furries and sex smiling.
Are we though? We're just like an inch away, honestly.
Are we?
We're an inch away from this couple at the end of the movie, dude. Like, we're not that far away.
I mean, does it count? I'm really trying to think, does it count? Because we went on a trip. Her friends, one of her friends, best friends, was getting married and everything. And this was like the night before. And she had got really, 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 really drunk. And, obviously I don't drink. And she, and she does. And that was already we were both fine with that happening. But she got plastered. And so it was kind of one of those things where they were like, hey, take care of her, make sure she gets, blah, 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 make sure she gets some sleep tonight, blah, blah, blah. She'll stay up all night, blah, 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 blah. And she got drunk fairly early in this party. So I was a bit like frustrated because I was just kind of, essentially I was babysitting. And she's not like the fun drunk. This is like the falling, yelling, all of that kind of stuff. She's a pretty crazy. I've never seen her that drunk. This is the first time. So I wasn't used to handling someone like that. So I'm not saying she did anything wrong, but I think on my end,
you're just frustrated.
I wasn't used to handling something like that. So I was frustrated. I was lugging her around and stuff. And when we got back, I didn't want to do anything. And I was already frustrated. I was kind of like, I just want to go to bed. And she just wouldn't shut up and kept egging and saying she wanted it and come on. And I mean, does that count?
Angrily did it.
Yeah, I really did it. I gave her what she wanted.
You're
It was
you were borderline. I get that. Yeah, that's close.
I mean, it wasn't violent like
No.
that, but
I'm not saying a hate fuck has to be angry.
it was like
I'm just saying when two
like-
people are super fucking mad at each other, that's what I'm saying by a hate fuck. You're both fucking mad, but you're also just so mad. You're like, let's fuck. Like you just need some outlet. You're just like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like you're both mad.
that's why I'm wondering if it counts, because I definitely was mad. I don't know if she was, but she was talking shit. Like it was unlike any sex
All
we
right,
had
I'll say
ever
this.
had.
I'll say this. That's close enough, Jastin. That's close enough.
Is that close? Is that
if you're
okay?
talking shit during
Okay.
it? Yeah,
She was talking shit. Like
dude. Because I'm talking like when it like starts and you're just like, you know what? Fuck you. They're like, fuck you, and you're like, all right, we're about to fuck, aren't we? And you're mad. And you're not even necessarily happy you did it, but you're just like, that was only going one way.
Yep. And that's the way it went. It was like we kind of had that. Remember in A History of Violence when
On the
Viggo
stairs?
Mortensen early in the movie, they kind of have sex. And then later
On the stairs.
they have sex on the stairs
Yeah.
and it's his alter ego. And it was like
Yeah.
rough and her hair was flying everywhere and they were just like dead tired and all of that shit. And it was just like, it was just rough as fuck. It was kind of, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't usually do that. That was the one time that happened, but I guess it counts then. See, I wasn't sure though, because I wasn't sure if what she was doing matched, but maybe it did.
Oh, because worst case, if she wasn't mad, she was trying to make you mad enough to do it though.
I think she was, man. That's the only way I could explain
Hey,
it.
that counts. That counts.
She was just, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was, and that never happened again. That only happened that one time, but it was different, man.
You know, and
It
it
was
can
different.
happen more than once. That's fine. But I'm just saying everybody needs it at least once. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
See, now I'm not the only one that just has talked about the weirdest shit on here.
Was that weird?
No, I'm just saying. I'm typically, if anybody ever opens up or says anything like that, it's always me. Because I just, I don't want to say I'm the free spirit of the podcast, but I'm just the,
Least filtered?
yeah, but I don't even necessarily think of it like that. Because I don't think people should, be filtered about that stuff. So to me, it's like, it's not even a filter issue. Because I feel like sometimes I'm just saying the things that people should say. Now, I do know a lot of it I shouldn't say. But that's always the fun. Oh no, guys. We're almost
Did
there.
I smile during that?
You might have smiled afterwards, and that's fine.
Yeah, probably afterwards.
Oh man, you give Jastin one of them non-alcoholic beers, it just comes out. You give him that beero. Oh man,
man.
Jastin. I just think it'd be hilarious if you just start doing stone cold shit with beero. You're all fucking beero, just
Yep.
dude, you should do that. Just some show. Have somebody in the crowd with some beeros just tossing you just non-alcoholic beers. And then even have somebody come out and go, but Jastin, that's non-alcoholic. And then that's when you just right in their face.
That's funny. You know what I wanted to do? There's something I promise this won't take long. There was something I wanted to do in a wrestling match. It's kind of it's a fantasy, but not like a sexual fantasy or anything,
Well,
but
I hope
just
not,
like
Justin.
a
It's a wrestling match
fantasy
in
of
front of
something
people.
like it's way far left of anything I would ever do, but it is something like I'm like, I think I could probably do it, but like I always wanted to be wrestling someone, drink some alcohol, get drunk, and then drunken master wrestle like that. And for a while, I was practicing and I could do some stuff. And I was like, I could kind of like, I was practicing it and I wanted to do it in a match, but I never did. But
And now you can do it with some Biro.
but now that you say that, you triggered something. I'm like, man, I could have some bureaus out there.
And I just think it'd be funny if like you're the weird heel Jastin is just you with some non-alcoholic beers. And then you have the face come out and just like pick up a can and be like, Jastin, this is non-alcoholic. And you just, like I said, slam right in his face and just,
That'd be tight. Or do the whole drunken master thing and then somebody goes, Jastin, this doesn't even have any alcohol in it. I'm just like, oh, you know, like it just, that might be funny too. It wasn't
weirdly
even
enough,
alcoholic.
that's a joke in
Like, what are you doing?
that's a joke in an episode of Beavis and Butthead from back in the day. They go to a gas station and they buy beer. Because the thing is they're not 21 in the show, at least in the beginning. And they buy beer. And they're sitting on the curb outside drinking it, and they're just all, yeah, beer. And a cop pulls up and they're like, no, yeah. And the cop's like, oh, what are you fucking idiots doing? And like grabs the beer from him and looks at it, and it's O'Doul's, which is a non-alcoholic beer. He's like, you idiots, there's no alcohol in this. And they're just like, yeah, beer, yeah, alcohol, yeah. Like, and they're getting drunk on it. And the cop's just like, whatever. Because it just gives it back to him. It's just like, you're fucking idiots. But yeah, it'd be that type of thing. I'm just saying. Because it works in that show.
Yes.
Anyway, we done?
Yes.
I just have a super quick question regarding the mid credits.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about yiffing. What's up?
Not this time.
I
no.
thought she was like, just one quick question about yiffing.
The mid credits. Did any of you think that meant like another Hard Eyes was going to be around and there might be like a sequel situation? Because I was reading about like people talking about that mid credits because of the friend who did the fake call, but then her call gets cut off. You know, like her phone call goes dead, kind of like it does at the beginning of the movie when they're trying to talk on the phone. I didn't see it that way. I saw that as just Olivia Holt's character hung up on her because she was like, you're being stupid right now. But other people thought that meant like, oh, maybe he's back around.
I 100% just thought she hung up on her.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I was just like, you know, people were like, oh yeah, some people are saying that maybe there's a hinting at another movie coming because of the phone call getting cut off kind of thing. And I just didn't take it that way. I just didn't know if I was the only one who didn't take it that way.
Well, not exactly. I mean, in the movie, I was kind of like, because you know, it's that whole tease at the end of, oh, could the killer still be alive, or could the killer still be out there, or some clue of the killer, whatever. So I did see it as that, and I mean, as far as like, will they or won't they? I mean, if this makes enough money, you best believe they will. So. I mean, so
True.
They could always go back to that scene. Even if it was just her hanging up, you could always retcon it and say, oh, it was him, or oh, it was somebody else. There's a fourth one.
See, but see, that's what would piss me off, is because why would they go out of their way to say thruple and all that other stuff? for there to be a fourth or a fifth or 27 other ones. You know what I mean? Like, I think if they do something like that, the worst or the best case or worst case or whatever case, it's got to be someone else that was just inspired by it that wants to kill the couple that killed Hard Eyes. That's you can't have them any sort of connection outside of maybe being a family member, maybe, but don't have it be another one of their lovers.
Yeah.
You know,
that makes sense.
I think
that does make a lot of sense that they come after them because they killed Hard Eyes. Or remember how they were like, oh, y'all are going to be so famous. You're the couple that killed Hard Eyes and all of that stuff. So, yeah, a couple of different things could branch from that. Maybe there's people who get jealous of them and their popularity and their perfect relationship and decide to reprise Hard Eyes just to kind of get back at them or whatever, just to take them down a notch. Yeah, you could come at it a bunch of different ways with that because the whole world knows they did it. So
as long as it's just like I said, not another throuple that was the second throuple to their throuple. There's like the supplementary throuple. Like, oh, we're the throuple that throuple would throuple with sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it's not that.
Yeah, or one of them was having a secret affair with another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the secret lover in the polycube. Like, no, just don't do this shit.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, legit though, I didn't even think of that. I legit just thought she hung up on her. That's legit.
Yeah, exactly.
Only thing that's
it didn't seem like much, but you know.
Anyway. All right. On that note, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the CineScores podcast. Check us out on the internet at www.cineslayers.com. We're at CineSlayers podcast on I fucked all that up. We're CineSlayers podcast on Facebook. We're www.cineslayers.com on the internet. We're at CinemaSlayer, or we're at cinema_slayers on Threads, Instagram, and Letterboxd. We are at CineSlayers pod on TikTok and YouTube. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your friends' family, tell your family's friends, and most of all, tell those dear sweet mothers, because dear sweet mothers love.
Apparently, murdering on Valentine's Day as a kink.
Oh, close. Yiffing.
Yiffing. It was right there.
Mothers love yiffing.
While smiling.
Yeah. They love to smile while yiffing. Shout out to Plug Me, Go, and show for our theme songs and logos respectively. Give us a 5-star rating and review. We really appreciate it. Really help us out. We here at the CineSlayers podcast are pro Sydney, pro Naked, and you. Yes, you cinefans, you are Knuff. Justice for Chris, justice for Todd, justice for all those wonderful animators, stunt people, and caterers that make all our movie-going dreams possible. And as always in the podcast, the YouTube videos, and the TikToks, just remember, according to Jastin, Moon Knight is the Best Picture winner.
I did like their Hobbs and Shaw joke. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
That was
funny. They're like, yeah, we never heard of that.
CineSlayers.
They had some solid jokes. There were some solid ones.
I'm really worried, guys. I feel like our conversation about yiffing unlocked something in Heather.
Why?
Just you were just all about finding out the yiff.
I was just curious if there was a word for it. Like
Hey, you jumped on that real quick.
Yeah, because I mean, we would have moved on otherwise.
Okay, if that's what helps you sleep at night, okay. I'm not. Hey. Safe space. No shame.
I like the words, though. You don't think it's cute?
Jastin, I don't want my sex to be cute. Just saying.
The word is cute.
I don't give. Yeah, I don't want anything.
The word is
I don't
cute.
want it.
It's yipping.
I don't want cute associated with fucking, Jastin. In any way, shape, or form, word, anything. I want it to be hot. I want it to be sexy. I don't want cute anywhere near my fucking. You keep your yiffing, your cute little yiffing away from my fucking.
Well, we're just not furries, man. We just don't understand.
Hey, that's cool. I'm just saying, I like to fuck. I don't want yiff. I don't want none of that. I don't want no cuteness.
There might be some extreme yiffing though.
You know what?
We
I've
don't
never.
know
You know
about.
what? You
She
know
didn't
what's.
look up everything.
You
She
know
just
what's
looked
never
up the-
turned me
the
on?
simple-
Somebody in a cute outfit. I want that. That does nothing for me. Gotta be that hot shit. Just saying.
And the furry has to be like a bearish. It's a bearish like. It's not a bear.
Lots of wolves, dragons, cats, dogs.
Okay.
Furry
Cats,
animals.
dogs.
Weirdly enough, not as many
Okay.
bears because being a bear is a different thing. Also, not a lot of otters because being an otter is a different.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I mean, to say that there are no bears in the furry community would be, untrue also. I guarantee you there's some bears in both senses.
Yeah. I knew what you meant there. The double. Yes.
Yeah.
Both meanings.
I'm sure there's some rabbits. Most furry animals. I'm sure there's furries of furry animals, but also dragons. I don't know why they call dragons furries. I mean, they're not all Falcor from fucking Neverending Tale or Neverending Story. Like, yeah, that's a furry dragon, but I don't see too many dragons running around being furry. Are they called scalies? Heather, you would know.
Yeah, somehow I don't have that knowledge.
See, now she's like, oh, they're on to us. Or they're on to me. I'm just saying. I do appreciate though, Heather, that you pretended to look up what yiffing was. Like you just didn't know. She's like, oh, let me look it up. It's this.
Yeah, well, wicked. Let me look that up because I don't know what that means.
That wasn't my last Thursday night. The things we learn about Heather on this podcast, it's insane.
Jastin just revealed the whole story, and you learned a lot about me this time.
Well, yeah, you're the one talking about yiffing.
Yeah, you were the one having.
Hey.
Jastin throwing it back. It's like, yeah, forget what I said. You.
Well, what I said was just pretty much normal behavior.
Yeah, what Jastin said is just a normal story. We're learning things about you.
That I looked up what the name of sex for furries was because we were talking about it.
Looked up.
You need to check my Google history on my phone.
The last thing I want to do is that.
Oh boy.
Oh no. Just say. It'll be like, when was the last time Heather searched yiffing? It's like every day for the last 10 years. Shit. If they ever did a word cloud of like Heather searches on Google, it's just a big circle that just says yiffing.
This is the one time I hope people aren't still listening to our afterthoughts.
Oh dear God, I hope everyone is. I hope people are tuning in and just for this. This is the single most important conversation we've ever had on this podcast.
We had some stories on this one. That's some revelations.
Jastin realized he had angry eggs. Heather reveals she yiffs. Sterling said some Sterling shit. It's been a journey.
It has.
Are we done?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yep. Later.